Trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future, an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Remember the boy who cried wolf? I call this one the press that cried Hitler.
The president is not only racist, he's a bigot, but he is completely un-American. He is behaving like a fascist.
Hey, Howie?
The dictator that I think he wants to be.
The President of the United States is a wannabe dictator with authoritarian tendencies.
This is exactly what authoritarians do. This is what strongmen do. This is what happens in authoritarian regimes.
We have a president with a strong authoritarian personality.
Like a dictator from another nation. People that grew up in authoritarian regimes, seeing echoes of that in President Trump. He likes these figures like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. This is more the actions of a dictator.
Okay.
Howie?
Yes.
Did you have a poll question?
Let's see.
Who is more non-compos mentis, Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden?
It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The frontline workers, many are taking it. I happen to be taking it. I'm taking it. Hydroxychloroquine. Right now, yeah.
Stunning news from President Trump.
It was the president who late today surprised reporters when he said he has been taking hydroxychloroquine,
a controversial medicine that Mr. Trump has touted as a potential treatment for coronavirus.
The president appears to be brushing aside those concerns, saying it was his idea to take the drug along with zinc as a way to prevent catching the virus.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Frontline workers take it. A lot of doctors take it. I take it. I'm not going to get hurt by it. It's been around for 40 years for malaria, for lupus, for other things. I take it.
He's not taking something that his own administration has said will kill you.
If you are in a risky population here and you are taking this, it will kill you. I cannot stress enough. This will kill you.
Everything he said was absolutely accurate. It has been around for 40 years. It's been prescribed hundreds of millions of times. I've never seen one adverse side effect.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Madam Speaker, what's your reaction to the president saying that he is now taking hydroxychloroquine?
I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group, in his weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say.
Oh, a lovely lady. Hey, baby, you're all right. You must have been something before electricity, huh?
Unchained and unstoppable.
You're going to hear there's a pond on the other side of my property here, a lot of Canadian geese. Trump is out there tweeting again this morning. I call him President Tweety.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
They're not Canadian geese, Mr. Creepy Joe. I called them Canadian geese early on in my talk show career and got about 1 million corrections. They're Canada geese. What a dope. Another thing I learned, I've made a mistake occasionally, I must admit, but when I'm go on camera, I try to make sure the cell phone is turned off. And you know what? If Gooner's around, I give Gooner a treat so that Gooner does not start barking. Joe didn't do any of those things, but hey, what else is new? I'm still amazed at the response to the president's aside yesterday that he's been taking hydroxychloroquine. They're still going on about it on MSNBC and CNN, as if it's like if it's the biggest story in the world. I mean, would it be that big of a story if it were? No, of course it wouldn't. 844-500-4242-917 says, so the generation that gobbled down Quaaludes made in bathtubs and snorted cocaine made in a Colombian toilet and cut with laxatives are now upset that hydroxychloroquine is untested and unproven. You know, the only thing Trump would have to say is, you know what, this is a terrible drug. Nobody should be using this. And then it would be endorsed by all the same people who are down on it right now. That's all there is to it. It's just, it's like Pavlov's dog. He can get a reaction, even if he doesn't want to get a reaction. Whatever he's for, they're against, and vice versa. 844-500-4242. Charlie Baker is in hiding today. If you're wondering where the press conference went, there is no press conference today. Did this just happen? It just didn't happen, is what you mean to say.
Don't know.
They're not pleased with this. This is not a good thing. The only thing he's lucky is that he's not a Democrat, or at least, you know, it hasn't dawned on people outside of New England that he really is a Democrat. So people just sort of say, well, you know, he's a squish, like Hogan in Maryland or DeWine in Ohio. They don't realize that he is actively seeking to destroy the economy of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And incidentally, I should mention that Ayanna Pressley, member of the Squad, she too has denounced Charlie Parker today. She says that he's moving too fast to open the state back up. I just got an email from Boston College, and God bless Father Leahy. He's reopening BC on August 31st. I mean, he did say they're going to use the the guidelines of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So I guess that gives him an out. But I mean, he's not he's not saying he's going to shut the whole school down for the entire fall semester like a lot of these fools are saying. It's just this has gone on long enough. We're going to have Kurt Schlichter with us, and I found a quote. I was going to save it for Kurt Schlichter, but I want to share it with you right now. I was watching the press conference last night of Tal Duvall and Pay to Play Polito, and it suddenly occurred to me a line from the Declaration of Independence, which I thought really applied to them with all these, their hygiene protocols and their COVID attestation posters and their mandatory this and their requirement that and their sector ready this and their sector ready that. This is what the writers of the Declaration of Independence said about George III back in 1776. Tell me if it reminds you of anybody currently amongst us, although he's hiding under his desk in the corner office right this afternoon. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. My next question, has anyone ever seen Tal Duvall and King George III in the same room? I mean, that's what they're doing. And do you think there are going to be any scandals involved here in this reopening project? The Department of Public Health is going to be involved in doing some of this policing work, policing work. They're going to be some of the swarms of officers harassing our people and eating out our substance. The Department of Public Health. Does that name ring a bell, the Department of Public Health? They used to have a couple of employees by the name of Annie Ducan and Sonia Farrak. And they used to fabricate. They were at the police, the state. Called it the state police labs. It was public health. It was the public health labs, Department of Public Health. They used to falsify the drug tests in the case of Annie Ducan, and in the case of Sonia Farrak out in Amherst, she ingested all the drug tests for years. Coke, oxys, heroin, fentanyl, LSD. Ecstasy, anything that came into her office, she would just ingest it. And when they finally caught up with them, Sonia Farrak in Amherst, and although she worked in Jamaica Plain too, and Annie Ducan in at the Hinton Lab in Jamaica Plain. You know how many criminal cases they had to throw out? I had to look it up today because I just want to make sure I had it straight. 38,000 criminal cases. And now they put the same department in charge of enforcing these laws. And of course, the entire Commonwealth, 3,574 deaths out of the 5,700 are at the nursing homes that are regulated. And incidentally, there's some new news about the nursing homes. You know, Charlie Baker took 52 grand from the nursing homes, and he never says anything about them. Karen Polito, 32,000. Likewise, she's mum's the word. The unindicted co-conspirator, Bob DeLeo, took $47,000. The Globe finally came up with a decent story today. When it comes to protecting the nursing home industry, Charlie Baker moved swiftly and boldly. On April 8th, not that long ago, I believe we were in lockdown on April 8th. On April 8th, Baker filed legislation saying it was necessary to protect public health workers and facilities from an unprecedented healthcare status. The bill flew through the House again. The House is DeLeo with 47,000, and the Senate, and then the Senate, which is Spilka with about 10,000, and Mike Roderick's of Westport with about 10,000, and was signed into law on April 17th. As other such state laws passed around the country, the Massachusetts law protects the nursing home industry and hospitals from civil liability for injuries to patients during the coronavirus crisis. So in other words, Charlie Baker and DeLeo and Polito, they delivered for the nursing home operators who had paid them hundreds of thousands of dollars. They passed a law to protect them from civil liability for all these deaths that have happened. Over 60% of the deaths have been in nursing homes. And yet, you, a small business owner, a barber, or a restaurant, you're shut down. Nobody cares about you. Nobody's died, let alone 3,500 people have died in restaurants or barber shops or bowling alleys or weed stores, which are now opening up. But the nursing homes where everybody's dying are taken care of. They've passed special legislation. And we're supposed to think this is all on the level. Huh? Really? I don't think so. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Don't you hate it when someone shows up unexpectedly at your door? With the Guardline outdoor motion sensor, you'll always know when someone enters your property. Keep tabs on little ones playing in the yard or teens coming home at night. We're always watching, so you can have peace of mind. Go to guardlinesecurity.com/radio and enter the code radio at checkout for $20 off your order. Guardlinesecurity.com/radio. That's guardlinesecurity.com/radio.
Cape Gunworks has been approved to reopen their virtual online classes. If you're looking to get your certification in firearm safety training, these classes are the perfect resource. They're also great for experienced gun owners who need to get recertified in safety. These virtual classes will fill up quickly, so sign up today. To learn more about the online classes, go to capegunworks.com. That's capegunworks.com. And keep Cape Gunworks in mind for all of your future gun and ammo needs. Cape Gunworks in Hyannis.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. He's Howie Carr.
We will bring over your entire family from the third world Muslim hellhole that they live in so that they can have an all expenses paid, taxpayer funded with open bar weekend at a nice hotel in Boston, get a nice sightseeing tour, maybe take them to Fenway Park for a game, so they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the President of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship. It's just authoritarian now, but let's call it Red China. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
The coronavirus has made our lives unpredictable. But one thing you can always count on, the White House press corps will always ask President Trump ridiculous questions.
Question, Mr. President, should Americans have to decide between staying healthy and going back to work?
Hey, just checking on oil again today. I was wondering.
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
Well, I was wondering if you...
No, where's the price? Give me the price.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How can you ask a question when you don't know the price?
I'll look it up for you.
Okay, let me do something else.
When you say the Americans were scared, though, I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector General
what's his
report. I don't know his name.
Some of your allies have been bashing these doctors. Would you tell them to cut it out?
Today you tweeted the invisible enemy will soon be in full retreat. Given it's invisible without widespread testing, how would you know?
Hi, this is Val from Longmeadow, Mass.
Hi, this is Tony and Pietra from Havel, Massachusetts.
This is Myrnie in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-42. That's Ayanna Pressley slang. Slow down, you move too fast. Oh, there's no rush about going back. She's been speaking to faith leaders, and they're very concerned. Yeah, right. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want to hear your music, not your roommates or family's music. And Raycon wireless earbuds are the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. I'm holding it up for the social media camera. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who is more non-compos mentis, Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden?
Well, I guess we should play the Trump cut here just to set it up. Cut 7.
Pelosi is a sick woman. She's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental problems. We're dealing with people that have to get their act together for the good of the country.
Okay, now we'll play Biden cut 13.
90,000 Americans have now lost their lives with this pandemic. Scale.
That wasn't his phone. That was the phone of somebody.
The scale of the loss is staggering.
Set up the call.
Whose phone was that was ringing?
It was whoever was hosting the call. It wasn't Joe Biden. They forgot to mute their phone. It connects to their computer.
Oh, boy. 844.
So what's your answer? Who's more non-compos mentis?
I'm going to vote for Biden.
77% say Biden.
Yeah. I was wondering if he was going to mention Botox, that perhaps she's having some elective surgery, or that perhaps that, people should realize that this is your brain. This is your brain on Botox, and then play some Nancy Pelosi cuts. Incidentally, if you haven't seen the new parody ads that the that the Trump campaign is doing about Joe Biden. Have you seen those, Taylor?
I saw them this morning, and that's
they're
indescribable.
I mean, we can't. It's video. And Chiron, so it doesn't work on the radio. But we should tweet that. We should tweet that first one out. It's the Trump investigative crew, and they investigate. What does he say when he says it's written in the thing? And so their theory is that
it's like an Unsolved Mysteries episode.
The thing is, there a second Constitution of the United States, or a second Bill of Rights, or a second Declaration of Independence? That's it. And so they go around asking people if there's a second Declaration of Independence. It's just really, really funny. And I assume, and the next installment is going to be, we investigate what is a lying, dog-faced pony soldier. I hope they're going to do like one a week from now on for the duration of the campaign. 844-500-4242. Wendy, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Wendy.
Hi, I had an interesting end to my shopping at Shaw's yesterday.
Yes.
In the change that I received, there was a 2020 brand new minted quarter, actually a couple of them. So I decided to look at them. Howie, guess what is on the back of this brand new 2020 mint quarter?
What?
2 bats.
What?
2 bats. There's a couple of bats.
2 bats? I didn't know this.
Yes. I'm like, what is going on? Are they just throwing this in our face, or is it a joke, or did someone just not realize how?
You sure it wasn't an
bad
eagle?
This is to have this.
You sure it wasn't an eagle?
Ask your.
It was a bat.
No,
I've seen it too. It's a bat.
What's the significance of the bat?
I think it's a fruit bat from one of the states. I'm not sure. You know how they do the state quarters.
Oh, I see. Jared is just telling you that there are bat quarters. I thought we were. Oh, so this is like a different thing. So does every state going to have a bird quarter? Is that going to be the new thing? What's it going to be in Massachusetts? A seagull or a pigeon? I'll have to check that out, Wendy. I didn't know about the bat quarters. Holy Batman, Robin. Lee, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Lee.
You ever get the feeling that maybe Tal Duvall is doing all this just to upset talk show hosts?
I don't think it's just talk show hosts that he's upsetting, is it?
Oh boy, it's going crazy.
I think he's upsetting restaurant owners and barbershop owners and all kinds of small businessmen a lot more than he's upsetting me. Although I'm pretty disturbed, I must say. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, incredible. Did he change your plans? Because I got family coming up from Florida this weekend. I was like, I wonder how many people just said I'm staying in Florida.
I think a ton of people. I get this mailing, this weekly mailing from the big one of the big real estate agents in Palm Beach, just because I know that he's originally from Massachusetts. And this week, it had been very slow for a long time. He sold 3 condo units in the last week, and it's just all people from the north. They're saying they're not going to put up with this crap. I mean, if you have a choice, who would put up with this, Lee? You know,
I wouldn't. I live out of state, and I'm having to deal with it, and I'm out of state. I mean, I feel bad for you people. Massachusetts owners. I do. I feel sorry.
I do too. I do too. It's just it's so unnecessary. And again, putting the state of Massachusetts in charge of these things. The state of Massachusetts can't manage a 1-car funeral. They've proven that over and over again. I'm looking at. Oh man, here's the bat. Good Lord, that's weird. It's like this. It's like a cartoon bat. Very strange. I'm Howie Carr.
Tired of the Beacon Hill roller coaster? During these uncertain times, the last thing you need is another Beacon Hill money grab. That's why we need Jay McMahon fighting for us in the state Senate. As the only lifelong resident of the district, local business owner Jay McMahon is committed to fighting for our needs. Jay will bring common sense back to the state house, keeping our wallets, our economy, and our streets safe. You can count on Jay McMahon. On Tuesday, May 19th, vote in a special election. Vote Jay McMahon for State Senate.
Paid for by McMahon for State Senate.
Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code Howie Carr 20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives. John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is... Your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends or we were married or whatever. And VB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what?
Hey, Howie?
Yes.
I'm going to play you in with some leaked Biden audio.
This is Don. You did the right thing. Someday you will need a favor. I will be there for you. I mean, how is that not a smoking gun?
And 1 hour ago, he bring me the written statement
This is Poroshenko.
of his resignation.
Great.
And this is my second step for keeping my promises.
Yeah. Kurt Schlichter, columnist for Town Hall.
I'm here.
Southern California lawyer. What do you think? That's pretty good stuff, isn't it?
That's great stuff. But you know, what country do we live in anymore? It used to be America. I don't know where we are. It's sort of like Canada, except not as sissy.
I don't know. You're right. You have a column today saying none of these people are going to be prosecuted, and you may be
They're
right.
not.
I would settle
I'm
for him
right.
just
I'm
being.
always right.
I would settle for him being humiliated, though. Wouldn't you?
Well, we may have to settle for that, but that requires. Look, I'm a lawyer in Los Angeles. I understand people who don't have a shame gene, and I don't think these people have the ability to be humiliated. I don't believe that these people have any sense of right and wrong. I believe that to the extent they're sorry, it's because they were caught, because we now have Bob Barr and Rick Grinnell and a few other people unpeeling this decaying onion of corruption. But no, look, these guys are being rewarded for doing terrible things. They're not going to be prosecuted. They're going to be rewarded because our elite believes that using the government against your political enemies is their right, and it is an actively good thing. And that is unbelievably destructive to the nature of our country.
I still can't get over the fact that, when the Flynn prosecution was tossed out, the Justice Department tried to toss it out. And he lied to federal agents. And then CNN brings on as one of their analysts, Andrew McCabe, who did lie 4 times to federal agents, 3 on the day he became the acting director. And nobody even thinks to mention that. I mean, let alone tell him to go home. What?
Most people, most people in America were suffering under the delusion that the FBI was a crack investigative agency full of people with integrity. Of course, you guys in Boston kind of had a little lesson in that, didn't you?
Yes.
And and there are still people out there going, oh, is that from Zimbalist Jr.? But they're not. They're not even cops. These guys aren't even mall cops. They're a bunch of bureaucratic weasels who are in it for themselves. It's a disgrace. And the idea that, the news media is celebrating these losers. It's like if they were covering Watergate and said, yeah, and now we got G. Gordon Liddy on. How are you doing, G? Word. An FBI agent, by the way, at one time.
Yeah, I know. You're right. I mean, Joe DeGenova always says, these guys, they all have these slight bills. They're not even built like cops. If I can make I don't know if I'm some kind of if that's some kind of phobic remark, but you know what I mean. They don't look like cops. And Andrew McCabe, I read that he was on the SWAT team in New York. I don't believe it. I have a feeling if his gun has got to be a 22. It's got to be a 22 with a pink handle. That's the only thing I can imagine him ever holding in his hand, and not for very long either.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a real edgy kind of guy. Yeah, on the SWAT team. Yeah, you guys look at some like, hey, what happened in Las Vegas? 59 people got killed. What happened? You guys are the FBI. What happened? Look, these guys not only do the job they're supposed to do badly, they completely blew this conspiracy. I mean, let's look at it. It's falling apart. These guys, it's now been exposed, and even though they won't go to jail, they couldn't even keep this secret, Howie. They couldn't even frame a guy effectively.
No, I know. That's
this
the
isn't
thing.
The gang that couldn't shoot straight. This is the gang that left its freaking Glock in the toilet.
That reminds me, Kurt. I gotta tell Taylor to get some sound. Do you remember Deputy Dog?
Yes.
have you ever
He never got busted.
have you ever seen Deputy Dog and James Clapper in the same room? They have the exact same accents. You got to get me some of that, Taylor, and mix it up with Clapper last week going, duh.
When I'm not going to talk about my personal experience in the military with other government agencies. Let's just say I was unimpressed. But you look at guys like James Clapper, and you're like, oh, I get why we're still in Afghanistan and Iraq after 20 years. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. It's pretty clear.
I know. Think about that, Kurt. He was the think about it. His title, Director of National Intelligence. Intelligence. A guy with an IQ top 90 is the Director of National Intelligence.
Look, under these guys watch him and all the others just like him. The Chinese rolled up our entire spy network over. They killed dozens of people who were spying for us. We've got, and this is all open source stuff, New York Times and stuff. We got nothing in China because these guys are incompetent. Oh, but you know what's important? Trump may have gotten wee-weed on in a Moscow hotel room. How do I know? Well, you see, this guy told this other guy who told this other guy and told this other guy, and there were WMDs and blah, 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 blah. These guys are complete losers.
Right. And it didn't occur to him that at the top of the pages that the dossier was on, it said Hillary Clinton for president 2016. That didn't raise a red flag in their minds about the veracity of the information.
No, that wasn't an indicator. Well, if Clinton said it's got to be true.
Let me play a Joe Biden cut for you, Kurt, here, just so you can cut 14.
We got denial, delays, distraction, many of which were nakedly xenophobic. We got bald-faced lies about testing capacity.
Bald-faced lies.
Bald-faced lies. Okay, Grandpa Badfinger. I love the honking in the background. The geese are more coherent. I want to vote for the geese.
Right. And as I said earlier, he doesn't even.
And the Vice President Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't even know the difference. But
Howie, if she doesn't get picked as vice president, he's going to have to appoint her as ambassador to diabetes.
Oh, that's a terrible thing to say. They keep calling her. I thought she was a state senator, but now they keep calling her a state legislator. And I just can't bring myself to read any of these fawning hagiographies about her. Was she just a state representative in Georgia? I think.
Look, there's nothing to be ashamed of. She was the minority party leader in the Georgia state. So okay, that's not. That's not nothing. Okay, great.
Being a minority,
he came from nothing and did that.
But
that's
being
fine,
Kurt, being in a state legislature and being in the minority, being the minority leader. That's like being, as one of my old Boston City Council friends used to say, that's like being an admiral in the Swiss Navy. You don't do anything.
I just had the Republican majority leader supersize my fries the other day here in California, so I get it. They did it wrong, of course. I didn't ask for spicy fries, but whatever. He's got no problems.
Did you see the Catherine Herridge just put out the declassified memo? The CYA memo from Susan Rice about we have to go by the book.
Such a love how Grinnell's, who is from my town here in Southern California, by the way. I see him at like the Trader Joe's. It's like, hey, Your Excellency, you getting some of that spicy orange chicken? But he's classifying everything. And it's incredible. I haven't read it yet.
Listen to this.
Being an ex-military guy, I know about CYA letters. Yeah. So I'm super excited to read this.
Well, this is it's just why the one I've got is just one paragraph here that was declassified. But listen to this. Director Comey affirmed that he is proceeding by the book, that's in quotes, as it relates to law enforcement. So the FBI director had to make clear to the president that he wasn't going to violate any laws. That's comforting.
I'd like to know which book. Was it the Necronomicon?
From a national security perspective, Comey said he does have some concerns that incoming NSA Flynn is speaking frequently with Russian Ambassador Kislyak. Comey said that could be an issue as it relates to sharing sensitive information. Who elected James Comey to say that perfectly legal phone calls between the incoming intelligence chief for the new president and the Russian ambassador were problematic? Who elected him to do that?
Well, should the head of the FDA be concerned that James Comey's not doing his freaking job? I mean, Comey, do your own job right. Let's start with that. Okay, do your own job right before you start worrying about other people doing their job. You looming doofus.
President Obama asked if Comey was saying the NSC, National Security Council, should not pass sensitive information related to Russia to Flynn. Comey replied, potentially. Hey, isn't this the same Obama who said he would have more flexibility after his next election, who told Mitt Romney that the 80s were asking for their foreign policy back, who even just a couple months before this conversation with Comey said that there's no way the Russians could steal an American election? Now they're suddenly obsessed with Russia? Are you kidding me? How believable is this entire CYA memo? Not very, obviously, right?
Well, suddenly 15 days later, she sat down and go, I think I need to memorialize that meeting in a way that would retroactively support what we've done since.
Right.
So that's, I'm convinced. I'm not sure she'd like what I'm convinced of, but I'm convinced of something.
By the book. Remember Nixon?
By the book.
Remember Nixon in 73? He's talking about raising $1 million for the burglars, and then he realizes the tape recorder's on. We could get the money. But that would be wrong.
Rosemary Woods in the White House, in the Oval Office. Oops.
This was there, but that would be wrong moment. By the book.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, I'm doing everything. Yes, we're nobody's in here violating any laws, officer. We're all cool. Dave's not home.
Wrap it up.
All right, Kurt Schlichter.
It's like SNL.
Kurt Schlichter, what's the title of your newest book? What do you want people to buy on Amazon?
Go out and pre-order my next book coming out. It's dropping July 7th. Go on Amazon. The 21 Biggest Lies About Donald Trump and You. Excellent.
And thank you. And John Cardillo and I will toast you the next time we're in a fine Palm Beach restaurant together.
Oh, you're killing me.
It's nice to be in free America, Kurt. Join us.
Yeah, how would I know?
All right. Thanks, Kurt Schlichter, for being with us. We always love your columns and your books. I'm Howie Carr.
They call him the Trash Man, but we'll call him Captain Howie Carr.
If you're that listener who has always wanted more hair but are afraid of a full hair restoration, then today is your lucky day. DiStefano Hair Restoration is now offering a non-surgical laser procedure for less than $3,000. This package comes with a year's supply of medication to support the growth of your hair. DiStefano Hair Restoration continues to discount full hair transplants too. To learn more on both packages, go to hairman.com/Howie. You may have more time on your hands now, so take advantage of it and get the hair you've been wanting for years. I know Dr. Highness did such a great job for me, and he will for you too. People always stop me and say it looks so natural. To take advantage of either of these offers, go to hairman.com/Howie. You'll never see these kinds of discounts again. That's hairman.com/Howie. DiStefano Hair Restoration has 5 locations in New England and is open for business. For more information on location openings, go to hairman.com/Howie. Get the hair you have always wanted today.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets. The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. J-O-B-S, jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
We provided compensation for long overdue compensation to Filipino veterans of World War II.
The World War? That's a ball-faced lie. Wool-face. World War II.
Was he referring to Woolworths?
World War. Okay. 844-500-4242. 952 says, I live in Southwest Georgia, Trump country. The media won't tell the truth about Stacey Abrams. When she was running for governor, she admitted to owing over $50,000 in back taxes and having $174,000 in credit card debt. She is coddled by the media. Coddled is putting it mildly. It's just ridiculous. And again, she was the minority leader in a legislature. Do you think Brad Jones should run for president in Massachusetts or Bruce Tarr? You don't even know who they are, probably, unless you live in their districts. I mean, being a minority leader doesn't make you a bad human being, but it doesn't mean you have any power. All right. Incidentally, there are 2 special elections today in Massachusetts for open state Senate seats that were held by Republicans, and it's very important to get out and vote. Turnout is extremely light. And in the Plymouth Barnstable district, that runs from Plymouth down all the way down around the Cape through Bourne or Byrne and Falmouth. And Jay McMahon is running against a real moonbat, not a bat, a moonbat. And out there in the 2nd Hampton, Hampshire district, that's Westfield. That's where Donald Humison was the senator for many years, and then he became the mayor of Westfield. Vote for John Kane. He's the Republican. The Republicans need to keep, whatever you think of Tal Duvall and pay to play Polito, they will be gone someday, and there has to be somewhat of an opposition party. So get out and vote if you haven't already in the Plymouth Barnstable district there, and also the Westfield district. Vote for McMahon in on the Cape and Plymouth, and vote for Kane in Hampden, Hampshire. 844-500-4242. Bill from West Hartford, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, hi, Howie. Hi, Howie. I am thrilled that Connecticut is going to start to open up tomorrow, Wednesday, May 20th. Now I can invite the hookers into my own apartment, into my own bed.
You better social distance. You better social distance. Governor Lamont is going to be enforcing social distancing. He's going to have a ruler with him. He's going to be walking up and down the streets of West Hartford and New Haven, Bridgeport, all the places.
Well, I don't mind doing a threesome, me, Lamont, and the hooker. I don't mind doing a threesome.
Boom, boom. Get rid of Bill. I don't know where our explosives are. Thank you. Thank you. Have time? Nope, we don't have time for Joe. We'll be right back. 844-500-4242. There's two Americas, says 857. Free America and Barack America. Good way to put it. I'm Howie Carr.
We're building not only a lot of them, but we have a very high quality ventilator, one of the highest. So countries know that, and they're calling us and they're asking for help. They need help. So I only think in terms of saving lives. The country, we've gotten some very unusual calls from people that normally wouldn't be calling us too easily, asking for help. You know, you can get swabs and you can get gowns and you can get a lot of things, but getting ventilators is very tough, very, very tough, because it's a very complex machine, very expensive machine. So we've done a very good job, and probably it does help diplomatically, but we do it for helping people's lives, save lives. Yes, please.
Mr. President, so Ford Motor Company has previously required visitors to wear masks when they visit their facilities. Do you plan to wear one when you go there on Thursday?
I don't know. I haven't even thought of it. It depends. I mean, you know, in certain areas I would, in certain areas I don't. But I will certainly look at it. It depends on what situation. Am I standing right next to everybody, or am I spread out? And also, you look, you know, is something a hospital? Is it a ward? What is it exactly? I'm going to a plant. So we'll see. Where it's appropriate, I would do it, certainly.
Mr. President, you continue to talk about helping minority communities. What specifically are you looking at to help those communities? What actions?
So one of the things I was most proud of was the minority community and all of the work we've done for the minority communities. Black unemployment, Hispanic unemployment, Asian unemployment was the best ever in the history of our country. We've never had anything like it. We've never had so many African-American jobs ever in the history of our country by far. And we are bringing our country back. And a big focus is exactly that with the minorities. Specifically, if you look at the Asians, they've done incredibly well. Hispanics, incredibly well. African Americans, record-setting every month. You know that. Every month there was a record-setting jobs number. And that's what we want to do. We want to get it back to that level. We had to artificially close our country. One day we did the right thing. We would have lost millions of lives.
Smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The frontline workers, many are taking it. I happen to be taking it.
Did he just say that I thought he said?
I'm taking it. Hydroxychloroquine. Right now, yeah.
Stunning news from President Trump.
It was the president who late today surprised reporters when he said he has been taking hydroxychloroquine,
a controversial medicine that Mr. Trump has touted as a potential treatment for coronavirus.
The president appears to be brushing aside those concerns, saying it was his idea to take the drug along with zinc as a way to prevent catching the virus.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Frontline workers take it. A lot of doctors take it. I take it. I'm not going to get hurt by it. It's been around for 40 years for malaria, for lupus, for other things. I take it.
He's not taking something that his own administration has said will kill you.
If you are in a risky population here and you are taking this, it will kill you. I cannot stress enough. This will kill you.
Everything he said was absolutely accurate. It has been around for 40 years. It's been prescribed hundreds of millions of times. I've never seen one adverse side effect.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Madam Speaker, what's your reaction to the president saying that he is now taking hydroxychloroquine?
I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group, in his weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say.
Oh, lovely lady. Hey, baby, you're all right. You must have been something before electricity, huh?
Unchained and unstoppable.
You're going to hear there's a pond on the other side of my property here, a lot of Canadian geese. Trump was out there tweeting again this morning. I call him President Tweety.
From swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
You ever feel like you're in Groundhog Day, the old movie, when you're watching the palpitations of the mainstream media over anything Donald Trump does? So suppose it said, I'm not taking hydroxychloroquine. He's not taking the drug he touted. But he did say he's taking it. So he's taking the drug he touted. It's dangerous.
I think it gives you an additional level of safety. But you can ask, many doctors are in favor of it. Many frontline workers won't go there unless they have the hydroxy. And so, again, this is an individual decision to make. But it's had a great reputation. And if it was somebody else other than me, people would say, gee, isn't that smart?
I've heard that, it's hard to get in places like Hollywood or Manhattan, in the affluent areas where everybody hasn't moved out, which isn't that much of affluent Manhattan anymore. But people want it. And, the other thing is, too, you should see what's going on there again, asking him the same stupid questions over and over again this afternoon. That's why we're not, in any hurry to switch over to it. You're going on a trip on Thursday. Will you be wearing a mask? I mean, again, so this is the plague, the Black Plague. This is the return of the bubonic plague. It's going to wipe out a third of mankind, half of mankind. And that's what all they could do is ask him if he's going to wear a mask. And then someone said, what are you doing for the minority community? I mean, how many times have we heard it over and over? It's the same question. If this is such an earth-shattering event and a pandemic, pandemonium, why are they asking him, silly, pointless questions?
Well, that's a really good point, Howie. And Molly Hemingway made that point right when this started happening. She said, if this were as big of a deal as they're trying to convince us it is, they would change their behavior. And they haven't changed their behavior. So it cannot be bigger or smaller than anything else because they react to everything in the same way. And you'd think that if they really thought we were all going to die in a month or 2 months or whatever, that maybe they would say, we got to ask some serious questions here because people's lives are at stake, but they don't. Right. They ask the gotcha questions.
And if it were really a serious problem and going out without a mask was really a health threat, wouldn't Andrew Cuomo be angry at his brother for endangering everybody by going out? Wouldn't he be angry at Steffi Stephanopoulos, a fellow Democrat operative, for going out without a mask? It's
wouldn't they be angry at Caitlin Collins, who was caught on film ripping her mask off right after the press conference?
Right. That was pretty funny too. And it's like Obama on over the weekend with his commencement address, again talking about how climate change is such a problem, and then he goes back to his oceanfront estate on Martha's Vineyard, which is at sea level.
Yeah, but it's different for him because he puts his arms out over the sea when he's home and he makes it, recede.
Yeah, it's the old thing with these Democrats. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these stupid gotcha. They're not even gotcha questions. They don't even seem to have their heart in it anymore.
Physicians. Why haven't you announced a plan to get 36 million unemployed Americans back to work? You're overseeing historic economic despair.
I think we've announced a plan. We're opening up our country. Just a rude person you are.
That was CBS's Paula Reed, by the way.
These CBS reporters, it used to be a big deal to be a CBS reporter. Now, could you pick any of them out of a lineup, Grace? I couldn't.
No, I could not. No, I could not, Howie. Hey, Howie, this is Grace's News, and I do want to get to something that I think you're really going to enjoy. A clip went viral yesterday of a man in the North End. He's a restaurant owner. His name is Frank Mendoza. He went on a rant on Fox 25, and it went viral because so many people thought he made so much sense. So I'm going to play this cut and we'll discuss.
And it's easy for somebody who doesn't know how to run a business to tell me that it's going to be okay. I have 3 little kids. I got mortgages, rents, health insurance, payroll taxes. Let me tell you something. I haven't social distanced in 3 months. I've come out every single day. Okay? I take my chances with God. If I have to give up my business that I worked 25 years, sacrificed my life for coronavirus, I'll take coronavirus over losing my business.
We want none of it. We want to open up at 100%, and they should come down and tell us otherwise and come over and fight us at our businesses if they think that we're going to let them toy with us any longer.
So those are a few guys from the North End. That first guy you heard is Frank Mendoza. He runs Monica's, which is a very famous restaurant in the North End. He'll be joining us tomorrow, Howie. I just spoke with him on the phone. And it's just unbelievable that it's come to this, that the people who are making all of these decisions have no skin in the game, and people are fed up. And it's affecting everyone except for the hacks on Beacon Hill.
Right. Among busboys and bartenders and waitresses in Massachusetts, the unemployment rate is 100%. Among the hacks who work at the courthouses at University of Massachusetts, the unemployment rate is 0. And they're all making over $100,000 a year. And at UMass, most of them are making over $200,000, $300,000 a year. And they're on vacation. I mean, they just say, we've got to stay out. What they're saying is, we've got to stay on vacation.
Exactly. And Town Hall, Howie had a piece on Dan Crenshaw's recent op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. And he had a really good point. He wrote about how because the elite has the option to work from home or has money and they don't have to worry about it, they are using that as a way to say that we want to kill all the grandmas out there, when really some people just don't have the luxury to stay home. And some people don't want to be dependent on the government for the rest of their lives.
And anybody who wants to stay home and stay locked up in the basement, feel free. It's a free country. But just allow the rest of us to leave the house and get back to work. I gotta read some parts of Peggy Noonan's column in the Wall Street Journal on Saturday. I'm not a big Peggy Noonan fan usually, but she was pretty good talking about the breakdown between the people who want to go back to work and the people who don't want to go back to work. And she was just making the point that, the people who want to go back to work tend to come from more hard scrabble background, shall we say.
It's working class America. It's a lot of red states and it's a lot of battleground states. And it's not boding well for Joe Biden, because although he has a national lead over Trump, in those battleground states, I think it's 52 Trump, 45 Biden or something like that. So it's not looking good for Joe Biden. People want to go back to work, and there's people who are out there protesting. Usually, you know what they have, Howie? They have a sign that says reopen the country, and then they have a flag. And you know what's on the flag?
Trump.
Make America great again. So it's creating this divide, and it's going to be really scary / interesting to see how it plays out.
And they thought that they could blame Trump for the economic devastation, but it's abundantly clear that the states that are reopening, the big states, especially Texas, Florida, and then moving north to Georgia, South Carolina. And the states that never shut down, like the Dakotas, they're doing okay.
Right.
It's the blue states that are that are suffering here, and people are. Somebody said this on Russia's show today that she was in Kentucky, which has a Democrat governor. They made a big mistake by voting out the Republican governor. And she said people are depressed and they're all wearing masks in the grocery stores. They won't look each other in the eyes. It's like being in East Germany. She didn't say that, but that's the reality. And then the woman said she went down to Alabama and it was like being back in America. Everybody's smiling and happy and, they're taking it easy. And guess what? Nobody's dying in Alabama.
And you're totally right, Howie. And it's going to get very contentious when half the country is having their weddings canceled and their birthdays canceled and not able to hold funerals for people and not able to get their hair cut, and then half the country is able to do it. That's when it gets kind of frightening, because people are going to get mad. And I always thought, the liberals aren't going to get mad because they think this is going to get Trump, out of office. And I think to a point that's true, but at a certain point, it affects everyone. Like if you have a kid who's graduating college this year and they don't get to graduate or they don't get to have a ceremony, if your daughter's having a wedding, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat at this point. This thing is taking over. So I don't know. I think the Democrats are once again overplaying their hands. Grace's news is brought to you by Boomer Naturals face coverings. Charlie Parker has spoken, not today, because like Howie said, he was a little afraid to speak
He's
today.
hiding.
He's in hiding. I don't think Howie's
He's on
daily
the
tweets
lam.
are helping. But you now need a face covering, and they are strictly enforcing it. If you've gone to a gas station or to get ice cream or anything like that, you know that you will get yelled at if you do not have your face covered. So you might as well get a comfortable face covering at HowieCarrshow.com.
It's important at a gas station, Grace, because a gas station is such a sanitary location.
Right. I don't want to say I got yelled at again today, but I got yelled at again today. And
Did you really?
Yeah, it's not from...
Oh my God,
I'm
Grace.
not trying to rebel. I just keep forgetting. And then I walk in and I am, the worst person in the world. It's bad. I'm trying though. Thankfully I always have my Boomer Naturals in the car. So I just have to go back out and get it. But go to HowieCarrshow.com, click on the Boomer Naturals banner. You can save 20% with code HowieCarr20. And Howie, they're super comfortable and super soft. When we get back, I have some good news for Bud Light and some bad news for Joe Biden.
Interesting.
Yes.
I can hardly wait. I'm Howie Carr.
He's New England's talk radio king.
And community to make a difference. And our New England Subaru retailers are committed to being a resource for our neighbors. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Amendment number 2 in the Bill of Rights reads like this: a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You have the right to bear arms, so go ahead and bear them. But you also have the responsibility of keeping your guns in a safe place. Keep your guns and other valuables in the safe.
We're going to have
the best materials.
We're going to have Roger Stone in here tomorrow.
Liberty
Someone
Safe.
need another
Visit
IFB if we got one in
to find
another
the right
lab.
safe for you.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks.
He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. So what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation. If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
You know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock? You know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are new arrivals. And Mr. President, American history was made last night. The Boston Patriots won the Super Bowl. When the Second Amendment was written in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, they did not have in mind that people could purchase guns indiscriminately. The president is acting like Pontius Pilate.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother."
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts. And this is The Howie Carr Show.
If you are in a risky population here and you are taking this as a preventative treatment to ward off the virus, or in a worst case scenario, you are dealing with the virus and you are in this vulnerable population, it will kill you. I cannot stress enough. This will kill you.
Dr. Cavuto, I didn't know that he went to medical school. My general impression from an early age was that if you take too much of just about anything, it will kill you, including
they're not
water.
doctors, Howie. They're not doctors, but they play them on TV. Hey, Howie, I have a question for you before we get to the poll question. Have you heard? So over the weekend, I was talking to people, obviously, about Charlie Baker, coronavirus. It's the same, like 4 topics over and over again on the weekends.
It's Groundhog Day. That's what I'm saying.
It totally is. But something I heard a lot of that I never heard us mention on the show, but maybe we have, is people are very angry that when Charlie Baker goes on television, he has his hands in his pocket. And I heard that from multiple adults, especially older guys. They said, why does he have his hands in his pocket like he's giving a middle school presentation and he's scared of the teacher? He kind of slouches and sticks them in his pants pocket.
I think he's scared of the people. I think he knows that these polls saying that he has 80% favorability, that's nonsense.
He's America's most popular governor.
Yeah.
Sure, Jan.
We'll see you in the Republican primary in 2022, Charlie, if you're that popular. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want to hear your music, not your roommates or family's music.
Nobody wants to hear my Taylor Swift music. It is true. But guess what? When I put my Raycons on, I can hear Taylor clear as a bell, and she sounds great. So
we're trying to sell the product. Don't say things like that.
No. It's a great benefit to people like Jared and myself who do not want to hear Taylor Swift. So thank you, Raycon. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Howie Carr.
Yeah, sometimes silence is golden. So if I have the Taylor Swift in and they have just silence, then everyone's happy.
Okay, that's the way to look at it. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Give one to your significant other and you'll never have to hear Taylor Swift again, if you're lucky. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who's more non-compos mentis, Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden?
I'm still voting for Joe Biden, even though he's, 2 years younger than she is? She's 80 and he's going on 78.
He's a young whippersnapper.
He is.
66% say Joe Biden is more not with it.
Oh, I say Joe Biden 100%. I think Pelosi's a little bit more mean and calculated in what she says, but I think Joe Biden's definitely losing it a bit more.
Who looks older?
Ooh. See, unlike Nancy Pelosi, I don't like to comment on people's looks. I think it's a little bit beneath us.
I believe
the devout Christian, prayerful woman is calling people morbidly obese calling the president of the United States morbidly obese / when she's not, praying for him like she claims.
Okay. Who looks like they've had more work done?
I think, no, that's what I was going to say. I think they have both had a recent injections of Botox. How come? I thought, isn't Botox theoretically an elective surgery at this point?
Biden's had a whole facelift. I mean, before he got into the race, he had an entire facelift. He got rid of that turkey neck thing that he had going on, and you can see the scars behind his ears.
Yeah, Botox is one of those things. It starts as elective, and then after a while, if you don't keep it up, it's you just have to keep doing it. That's what I hear.
Who told you that, John Kerry?
No, I read a lot of blogs on Botox. If anyone out there is giving away any for free.
Okay, Grace, what do you got?
Oh, Howie, I have some news on Bud Light.
Yes.
Coronavirus brings beer drinkers back to Bud Light. Big beer brands had been losing ground for years before the coronavirus struck, but now drinkers are turning back to mainstream beers as the crisis shifts sales from tap rooms to grocery store aisles.
All the microbrews have been shut down.
The craft brews are tap, basically. They're
tapped
draft. So you can't, if the bar room is shut down, you have to go to a liquor store and get something in a can or a bottle. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, but can I not celebrate a win for Bud Light?
It's not like people are saying, you know what?
The reasons are.
I was wrong about Bud Light. It really tastes great. No, that's not happening. I'm Howie Carr.
It's nearly summer, and we here at Matthews Brothers are wondering where the heck spring went. We're as happy as clams to see things getting back to normal, but the past couple months haven't exactly been unproductive. For example, we got back in touch with a good buddy, the Nigerian prince, called on Ralph in Bangalore a few times to check the status of our car's warranty, and started following the fascinating sport of professional dirt track marble racing. When we weren't doing that, we watched with pride as the rest of America responded to this once-in-a-generation crisis. Of course, there were the amazing first responders, but behind them were the combined forces of everyday Americans, Paul Harfords and all the other truck drivers who kept things rolling, the Farmer Johns and all the Shadow Valley farms across the nation, and the grocery stores, even those with their one-way aisles. But mostly, we're proud of all our Matthews brothers and sisters who continue to stay focused on our role in supporting the construction industry by doing what we do best, making wicked awesome windows and doors. You can see those products, but only at Better Lumberyards and Window Professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on Crazy Mazie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us? And it's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn. Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at? I'm confused. This was just a sham.
Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country. And I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up.
I think the noose is closing, and, Giuliani is like a loose cannon, and so is the president, frankly.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard, to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ.
Can you get that for me?
I literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve.
That turned blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down. So it was trained and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Here's Donald Trump Jr. proving once and for all the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
They hate Trump more than they love America. For them to try to take a pandemic and seemingly hope that it comes here and kills millions of people so that they could end Donald Trump's streak of winning. I don't know if this is coronavirus or Trump derangement syndrome, but these people are infected badly. To make this guy into a religious scholar, that's like saying Jeffrey Dahmer is a purveyor of organic and fine exotic meats. Adam Schiff is basically the Jussie Smollett of Congress on steroids.
Children are off limits. Remember this one? If 13-year-old Barron Trump is not off limits, Hunter Biden sure as is not off limits.
Because my name is Trump, if I took $1.5 from China, not $1.5 billion like Hunter, their heads would explode.
Who is your favorite Democrat? Go ahead.
Mitt Romney, Gail. Mitt Romney's my favorite Democrat. How about that? Please, Lord, in my next life, make me a leftist so I can say anything and get away with it.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. More information is coming out all the time about what has come to be known as Obamagate. And that is the massive political spying, domestic intelligence, illegal operation against Republicans and probably a few Democrats too as well. Come to think of it, it was a few Democrats like Michael Flynn. And a lot of new information is coming out. The Susan Rice memo, the redacted paragraph was released today, and it's just more jive, CYA from Susan Rice. There's another very interesting story. It hasn't gotten much attention yet. It's in the Star newspapers. They're in Ohio and Tennessee. And it's written by Neil McCabe, who I've known for a long time. He's from Boston, and he's now the national political correspondent for Star newspapers, and he's a media fellow at Gold Institute. And I saw this story today. The Treasury Department spied on Flynn, Manafort, and the Trump family, says whistleblower. And you saw last week when they showed when Rick Grinnell, the acting director of national intelligence, released the list of people who had unmasked Michael Flynn in the post-election transition to the Trump administration on January 20th. And 7 of them were from the Treasury Department. And we all kind of wondered what's going on with all these Treasury people wanting to look at Flynn's phone records. But now it turns out there's more context to what happened with the Treasury Department illegally bird dogging Flynn. And so joining us now is Neil McCabe. Neil, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Oh, absolutely, Howie. And I really want to thank you. When I was in One America News, you were the cornerstone of our news special on the truth behind Elizabeth Warren. That was great stuff, and I really appreciate you coming on with us then.
Oh, my pleasure, Neil. So you found this Treasury Department whistleblower, and tell us what she said to you, what she told you about what the Treasury Department under Obama was doing to Michael Flynn.
Right. I've been talking to someone close to her for over a year, and she just didn't want to come forward. And so there was a lot of back and forth. And like you, I saw this unmasking where, there were 7 Treasury officials, including Jacob Lew, who is the Treasury Secretary, and Sarah Raskin, who is the Deputy Secretary and the wife of Congressman Raskin, who, of course, was part of the impeachment team. And they had that meeting on December 14th. I still don't know what happened on December 14th. She doesn't know what happened on December 14th. But what she did tell me is that in December of 2015, she started seeing metadata, that is, name, time, access, not actually what they were looking for, but she started seeing reports come through that Flynn was, that somebody in Treasury in the Office of Intelligence and Analysis was going through his financial records and monitoring his financial transactions. And that continued into 2016 when she reached out to someone else who was also, this woman had been in the intelligence community. She reached out to someone else who was also at Treasury from the intelligence community. And the two of them, basically looked at this and said, this is wrong. We got to speak up.
Right.
And they tried to ring the bells and they got shut down.
Now, let me just point out again, this started, according to Neil's source here, in December of 2015. Donald Trump wasn't even the front runner for the nomination, the Republican nomination at that point. So it kind of puts the lie to this Susan Rice memo that was declassified today, where they're talking about, they make it appear that they only became interested in Flynn when he began talking with the Russian ambassador after the election. So 11 months before the election, they're not dipping into his phone records with the Russians. These hacks in the Treasury, these Democrat hacks, are looking at his financial transactions. That's the bottom line?
Yeah. And I will point out, maybe the details better than I do, but it's my understanding that Flynn hadn't even endorsed Trump until later, that Flynn was actually talking to other candidates. And so this was very much a Flynn-centric operation. And the other name was Paul Manafort. And that is in her whistleblower. Manafort's name and Flynn's name are in her complaint to the Office of Special Counsel and the IG at Treasury. There are other names she can't say because they're not part of paperwork. So I asked her, I said, well, who else would be members of Congress? Yes. Were there senior staffers in the Trump campaign? Yes. I said, the most senior? She says, yes. I said, members of the Trump family? Yes.
Well, now you have Trey Gowdy is saying, the former congressman from South Carolina who was in on most of these Intelligence Committee hearings. He says that they were unmasking members of the Trump family on Inauguration Day in the morning. And I just want to read something from your story here. This ruse, tapping into their financial transactions, the ruse was to get around using classified resources to surveil Americans because they didn't have a court warrant. They hadn't gone to FISA. Once the Treasury personnel had enough information about someone, they were targeting from the black box, meaning the more accessible information. They would go to the white box for faster and more informed search. So this was a dirty trick. This was strictly an illegal dirty tricks operation. This is the kind of stuff they accused Nixon of doing, but he never had the capacity or the resources. I don't even know if he had the will to do something like this, actually, Well, I will also point out, when we talk about unmasking, it was on January 12th that Obama signed a revision of the executive order that governs sort of surveillance, and that's EO 12333, right? 12333. And it was on 12th that you see that Secretary of the Treasury, Jack Lew, accesses Flynn's records again on the 12th. And you see a ton of people accessing the records in the unmasked list on the 12th because that's the day that Obama opened it up to everybody. Yeah, so I'm just reading this surveillance program, and again, this is an illegal surveillance program, was run out of the Treasury's Office of Intelligence Analysts, which was then under the leadership of S. Leslie Ireland. That name doesn't mean anything to you, but he was at the CIA and had a 1-year stint as Obama's daily in-person intelligence briefer. So in other words, he was a soldier in the Obama crime family, and they put him in there just like they put Jacob Lew in there after the IRS scandal because he was the chief of staff for Obama. They needed to keep the lid on this dirty tricks operation that they were running. Do you think they were dipping into the financial records of all the Republican candidates? Senator Grassley from Iowa has said they were probably illegally surveilling all the Republican candidates. Is that what you think she's getting at, your whistleblower?
I mean, well, think about it, right? You're a reporter. If a cop left a folder on your desk and walked away, would you look through the folder?
Oh,
I mean, who would stop? You have that kind of curiosity? Why would you stop? I mean, and think about it. You go back to Watergate and Nixon. You know, most of those prosecutors weren't looking into investigators weren't looking into Nixon. They were auditing Bob Dole. They were auditing Ronald Reagan. They investigated every Republican who could have run for president in '76 just for opposition research and just charge it to the Watergate account.
Right. And you know, the other thing is too, if you're digging through financial records, you could, and you do it, you know, very carefully, you might be able to spot something, a check, say, I don't know, just to make something, an abortion, right? So if you can find, or you know, you did, you got some kids adopted and you didn't do it in a proper way through a backdoor payment to somebody, all of a sudden you have a lot of blackmail material, even if they're not a candidate for president, right?
Yeah. So go back, Howie, to black box versus white box, right? So in the black box, you see a check to an abortion clinic. Then you go to the white box and you find out, they're on their Facebook page. They were in that town the same day. Oh, okay. Let's go to security cameras. Okay. We see them walking into the building. So you go to the white, once you have everything, all the details you need in the black box, you can go to the open source white box. And that's sort of what they call parallel construction for you to say. And then they say, well, we didn't have a warrant. It was right on your Facebook page.
This is pretty amazing. We've got another woman coming up to interview in the next hour. That's sort of on the same topic about how Adam Housley from Fox has been saying that this thing is just massive. It's almost unbelievable how many people were under surveillance and the depth of the surveillance that they were under. I think it.
That's scary, Howie.
It could be hundreds of people, couldn't it, Neil McCabe?
Well, yeah, I just don't, like, I don't have proof it was hundreds of people. You don't have proof it was hundreds of people. But why would you stop? You know, if I have all afternoon to just look up anybody I want, why wouldn't I?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, it's, we're both reporters. It's very addictive, isn't it? Once you get started,
yeah, of course.
And you're just digging. And you're just digging, and pretty soon it gets to be a hobby. You go home and you put your feet up on the couch, and you just dig through the evening because it's more fun than watching TV.
And then you see the connections, you know, from something else. You heard something at the party, and then you see something in the Flynn file, like, oh, okay, now I get what the connection is.
Yeah. This is just, I mean, this story really puts, and you know, there have been other stories earlier that the surveillance on Flynn in various forms was going back to 2014. So now your story says you have it connected back to 2015. So
yeah,
I mean, he's got a hell of a civil suit once he gets rid of this criminal case in front of Judge Sullivan. Can you imagine that? I mean, how much time and effort did they expend? How many people were involved in trying to kill this guy, a 3-star general?
This is a very scary. You saw what they disclosed today. They declassed that Susan Rice memo was all about Comey going after Flynn. I had no idea that Flynn was the scariest man on earth. Like, who knew that Mike Flynn was such a scary guy?
Yeah, and who elected James Comey to decide who the incoming NSA should be talking to and what he should be talking about? And why did they have to go to this ridiculous length, repeating over and over again, by the book?
Well, scandal free. I will tell you this too, Howie, that one of the lawyers put on the whistleblower's case.
Yeah.
Maureen Comey, daughter of James Comey, Southern District of New York, Assistant U.S. Attorney.
It's kind of like that just reminds me when Judith Campbell Exner, JFK's girlfriend, was testifying before the Senate Intelligence Committee. You know the law firm that they gave her to represent her?
No.
Sargent Shrivers. Sergeant Shriver, the brother-in-law of President Kennedy.
Of course.
He's representing the girlfriend who's going to blow the whistle on JFK. I mean, how ridiculous is that? I mean, could the deep state be any more corrupt? Oh man.
Well, one of the things I learned as a local reporter in Somerville, is like, it's like I sort of learned in my trade walking around Somerville, working for the Somerville News, and I just sort of had this idea that what if I take everything that I'm learning in Somerville and just the same principles are in play, and I just apply it. I just treat the Capitol like it's Somerville City Hall, and it turns out to be absolutely true. Same clowns, same garbage. Like Washington is it's all the same.
I tell you what, Neil, I trust the McKennas and the Piros and the Howes a lot more than I trust the Comeys and the Brennans and the rest of them. Even Nutty Brune, I would trust more. But we're all Somerville guys. That's the thing. We used to live in Somerville. Neil McCabe, this is a great story. We're going to tweet it out, and this is really good. Keep us informed about this. This is you've really advanced the story here. This is quite interesting. I think we'll be reading more about this. Thank you, Neil McCabe from the Star newspapers, and he's also the media fellow at the Gold Institute. I'm Howie Carr.
You're tuned into the Howie Carr Radio Network.
Don't you hate it when someone shows up unexpectedly at your door? With the Guardline outdoor motion sensor, you'll always know when someone enters your property. Keep tabs on little ones playing in the yard or teens coming home at night. We're always watching, so you can have peace of mind. Go to guardlinesecurity.com/radio and enter the code radio at checkout for $20 off your order. Guardlinesecurity.com/radio. That's guardlinesecurity.com/radio.
Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
The only French term I like is sans culotte, without trousers. I used to describe Ted Kennedy as sans culotte because after the Obar incident, when he was wandering around down on the beach, with his 20th Scotch tumbler of the day in his hand, stumbling around with an he was just there, as the Michelle Casson, Patches Date said, he was just there without trousers. Or as we say in Paris, sans culotte.
We've seen nothing that we can work, that I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed because I thought that there might be some interest because of what he said in the campaign.
President Bush, this is your brain. This is your brain on Botox, okay? That's the lesson of that one. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name BB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truckstown, Pennsylvania. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
I think they were dipping into Mike Flynn's financial records for the same reason that after Bill Clinton became president, 900 FBI files, including those on most of the people on Capitol Hill of both parties, suddenly went into the presidential living quarters at the White House. I think there were 900 FBI files that went over there just for their the Clintons' perusal. You know, of course there was never a scandal in the Obama administration. And Jacob Lew was sent over to be the Treasury Secretary from the White House. He was chief of staff to Obama after the Lois Lerner Tea Party persecution, not prosecution, persecution came to light. And remember that the IRS settled with the Tea Party groups for millions of dollars because they were persecuting them. Joe, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Howie, long-time listener.
Thank you.
You move up here. I moved up here and got out of that sewer out of Massachusetts in '84. I grew up in Watertown, right where all this started, where that moron ran over his brother trying to get away from the cops, the 4 million cops that were shooting at each other.
Right.
And I was, like I said, I'm 75 years old. I figure if I get the virus, out of 6,000 people my age, 599 5,999 of us are going to survive it. So
right.
Not really that concerned about it.
No, I'm not as quite as old as you, but I'm not that concerned either. I mean, I don't have any underlying conditions as far as I know. And, and again, I feel bad for everybody who's dying, but it's not a particularly deadly disease unless you're extremely old or extremely frail. And that's the reality of it. And people who think they're going to die, they've just got to do a little more reading, or preferably after turning off the TV. And don't watch any more MSNBC or CNN. They're trying to scare you into voting for Joe Biden. That's the plan here, Thanks for the call, Joe. I appreciate it. And thanks for holding on. Ron, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Ron.
Good afternoon, Howie. Hey, I think you just stole my thunder a minute ago. I was just going to go back to the Clinton era, because you remember that, and you just mentioned it, that this is nothing new about the Democrats checking out other people's backgrounds.
Right, exactly. The Republicans, Nixon did a little bit of it, but again, Nixon didn't have any kind of organized system the way these Obama Democrats had it. I don't know who set it up. I don't think Obama really had the brains to do it, but somebody set it up for him. I'm Howie Carr. We all shop on Back when I was a kid in New York, he was damn good.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
This is the Howie Carr Show, live from Chappaquiddick at the Party House. 25 years after Chappaquiddick 1969 on WHDH, News Talk 850.
Another bad song from 1969. 742-0850. We're going to take some calls this segment if you want to get on board. If you have any questions for John Farrar, the scuba diver who saw Mary Jo Kopechne's body underwater. The number again, 742-0850. We're going to start talking about the incident and everyone's perceptions. John, let me just get this straight. So now, as far as your belief is that while Ted Kennedy was walking past all these houses back towards the Party House where we're broadcasting from now, Mary Jo was still alive.
That is correct.
And she would have been alive probably for about an hour, you think?
I think that's most reasonable, and if an hour, if not longer, that's correct.
If not, here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language, no question about it.
If you won mega millions, would you retire completely?
I used to say no, I would.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The frontline workers, many are taking it. I happen to be taking it.
Did he just say what I thought he said?
I'm taking it, hydroxychloroquine. Right now, yeah.
Stunning news from President Trump.
It was the president who late today surprised reporters when he said he has been taking hydroxychloroquine,
a controversial medicine that Mr. Trump has touted as a potential treatment for coronavirus.
The president appears to be brushing aside those concerns, saying it was his idea to take the drug along with zinc as a way to prevent catching the virus.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Frontline workers take it. A lot of doctors take it. I take it. I'm not going to get hurt by it. It's been around for 40 years for malaria, for lupus, for other things. I take it.
He's not taking something
that his own administration has said will kill you.
If you are in a risky population here and you are taking this, it will kill you. I cannot stress enough. This will kill you.
Everything he said was absolutely accurate. It has been around for 40 years. It's been prescribed hundreds of millions of times. I've never seen one adverse side effect.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Madam Speaker, what's your reaction to the president saying that he is now taking hydroxychloroquine?
I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group, in his weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say.
Oh, a lovely lady. Hey, baby, you're all right. You must have been something before electricity, huh?
Unchained and unstoppable.
You're going to hear there's a pond on the other side of my property here, a lot of Canadian geese. Trump was out there tweeting again this morning. I call him President Tweety.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. Taylor, people are asking, have we texted out or tweeted out the link to the parody, the video, the first of the investigative reports on Joe Biden by the Trump campaign?
I'll do that right now.
Thank you. We need to get that out. Let's get the Ohio Star story out too. I have a feeling it's going to be a big thing. We're going to have another person on to discuss this. This woman that we're going to have on, she's a retired naval officer. She calls it backdoor unmasking. These people just sitting at their computers, just digging through stuff that they can get into. I mean, they're not at like the top security clearances, but they just start digging. And they just come up with, you might say, leads into people that they want to take out in one form or another. And I think there was a lot of that going on. I think that's what Adam Housley has been talking about, and that's what Grinnell has been. That's what he took over in that satchel to the Justice Department. Rick Grinnell, the acting DNI, Director of National Intelligence, and I find it very ironic that John Ratcliffe, the Texas congressman who's up for being the permanent DNI, the Dems hate him because he was a pretty good congressman when it came to being in the same team with Jordan and Meadows and Nunes, and normally they wouldn't like him. They wouldn't be in any rush to confirm Ratcliffe as the DNI, but they'll do anything right now to get rid of Grinnell. I don't think Ratcliffe's going to be much of an improvement, but man, are they angry at Grinnell. He's doing his job, as he said. He said only in Washington would somebody be criticized for being hired to do a job and then doing it. But he has been doing it. He's been doing a great job. 844-500-4242. Time now for the Chump Line.
Dun, 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 dun. This is Ted Koppel reporting for Nightline. Day 68, Massachusetts held hostage.
That's a good way to put it. I thought it was originally going to be day 64, Joe Biden in the basement. The Trump campaign is having a lot of fun with that too as a date. But this is day 68, man. It was supposed to be 2 weeks, and it's just going to go on and on and on. But you see that the blue curtain is starting to crack. Gretchen Whitmer is opening up. Mike DeWine is fading. Tony Evers in Wisconsin is starting to retreat a little bit. But Tal Duvall, he has probably the worst case of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, of them all. He's going down. He's like a kamikaze pilot, and his plane is the SS Massachusetts, and he's willing to crash it right into the aircraft carrier. He's going to take all of us out with himself. Thank you, Tal Duvall.
The new normal will never work in Massachusetts. Massachusetts does nothing normal.
Yeah, I know. When Karen Polito says that, it's like it's a threat. The new normal. What was wrong with the old normal, Karen? You're a person of at best average intelligence. You've got every one of your stupid friends in there, and your kids' coaches, and your husband's law partners, they've all got judges, clerk, magistrates. What was wrong with the old normal? You pal around with Leah Gendoso, the gangster mall drug dealer, state cop. I thought you had a good time. You palled around with Dave Nangle, the indicted Lowell state representative. Why don't you want to go back to those old days, working with all these sleazeballs? Copy. As opposed to the new sleazeballs you work with. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week celebrating our system of justice and the rule of law. When laws are circumvented and citizens' rights are abridged, it's the duty of every American to hold those lawbreakers responsible for their actions, no matter what the consequences.
Tin soldiers and Parker coming. His friends are in control. COVID will do the drumming. 70 dead in Holyoke.
Oh, man. No, that was brutal, but it was good. He took 4 dead in Ohio, or as Joe Biden calls it, 40 dead in Ohio, and he made it into 70 dead in Holyoke. And again, there's a new story that as the panic was raging and the bodies were being piled up like cordwood in the nursing homes of Massachusetts, heavily regulated by Charlie Parker. Charlie Parker, who took 52,000 from the nursing homes, introduced legislation to cap the civil liability for the nursing home for all the dead patients. They got a lot of service out of that 52,000 and the 47,000 for the speaker and the 32,000 for the lieutenant governor. And now they want us to stay locked up all summer. They don't want us to take vacations on the Cape. They don't want the North End to be open up. They don't want anyone to have weddings. And in the meantime, they're taking tens of thousands of dollars cash to protect nursing homes where 60% of the fatalities are. Sometimes I feel like a voice in the wilderness saying this. When is at least the Globe picked it up a little bit today?
Charlie Parker, a 6'8" lemming with a basketball for a brain.
I don't think he's 6'8", and I don't think his brain is as big as a basketball. It's more the size of a ping pong ball.
Hey, Paperboy, you dare ask what bird would be on a quarter for Massachusetts? I know the answer. A moon bat.
You're right. Why didn't I think of that? That bat is really a cute looking little bat. He looks like something out of a cartoon. You know, Barney the bat. Barney the bat. That's what it would be. Barney the bat.
Mr. Baker Chov, tear down this wall.
You know, if you want to go to New Hampshire this weekend to have a drink or a nice dinner or do a little shopping, you have to go. There's going to be a gate at the border. Checkpoint Charlie. Checkpoint Charlie. That's what, and it's going to be down on the Rhode Island border too, and the Connecticut border, and the New York border.
Hi, Howie. Governor Patrick calling. Wow, what a letdown Charlie Baker's announcement was yesterday. We were expecting the state to reopen like those around us, but instead, we got waitlisted. Now I know how you felt. Fly to Brown. We're going to be bang.
I got into Brown, but that is a funny way to put it. We got waitlisted. BC is going to open in the fall. And I salute Father Leahy. He's a good guy, and he did the right thing. He showed a lot by going against the grain of higher ed.
Yo, geese, honk if you're voting for Trump.
I mentioned earlier that he called them Canadian geese, and I said I learned early on that they're not Canadian geese, they're Canada geese. And every time we play the intro there where he says Canadian geese, I get 2 or 3 text messages saying, it's Canada geese, like Canada Dry.
Joe Biden knows what a Canada goose is. It's what he gives the staff at the Canadian Embassy.
Oh, this is a good chump line today. I like this.
So Nasty Pelosi is fat-shaming the president. Who the hell does she think she is? What if she was age-shamed? Hell, her birthstone was lava.
Yeah, I was wondering if he was going to mention Botox today when they asked him, but I guess that's just a little too much. He didn't want to go all the way down into the gutter with Madam Speaker.
Lovey, I think it's easy to explain our party's actions with the Flynn scandal and the coronavirus mask mandate. We were for unmasking before we were against it.
Again, I'm going to enjoy watching these governors beating a hasty retreat. And you know, it's almost, not quite, but it's almost worth it just to see Charlie Parker and pay-to-play Polito left holding the bag. They're the last ones left here, just like they were the last ones to open up the golf course until the golf courses hired the big-time lobbyist, who was also from the law firm that got the unindicted co-conspirator out of his jam for a mere $700,000. But everything's legit on Beacon Hill. They're just doing it for the best, for everybody's. And opening the churches had nothing to do with that lawsuit. And you know, that's just they just reconsidered. That's all. They're doing the people's bidding. They're trying to protect us, the little people.
Actually, Howie, it is true. Andrew McCabe was on the SWAT team. He was on the all-county badminton team, and they were swatting those birdies like nobody's business.
I'm not making that up. You go to his Wikipedia page. He was on the SWAT team, and you'll never think of SWAT teams in the same way when you think of Andrew McCabe. But you know what? The SWAT team needs somebody to go out and get coffee in the morning, right? That was Andy McCabe's job.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. And if you want to hear more messages on the Chump Line, go to Chopped Chumps. That's our podcast that's posted after the show around 7 o'clock every night. Some of the messages that didn't make it on this Chump Line are even better than the ones that we did post. So that's Chopped Chumps, wherever you get your Howie Carr podcast. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, celebrating our system of justice and the rule of law. When laws are circumvented and citizens' rights are abridged, it's the duty of every American to hold those lawbreakers responsible for their actions, no matter what the consequences.
Joe Biden knows what a Canada Goose is. It's what he gives the staff at the Canadian Embassy.
Are there any Canada Gropes out there in the backyard? I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Radio Network.
If you're that listener who has always wanted more hair but are afraid of a full hair restoration, then today is your lucky day. DiStefano Hair Restoration is now offering a non-surgical laser procedure for less than $3,000. This package comes with a year's supply of medication to support the growth of your hair. DiStefano Hair Restoration continues to discount full hair transplants too. To learn more on both packages, go to hairman.com/Howie. You may have more time on your hands now, so take advantage of it and get the hair you've been wanting for years. I know Dr. Highness did such a great job for me, and he will for you too. People always stop me and say it looks so natural. To take advantage of either of these offers, go to hairman.com/Howie. You'll never see these kinds of discounts again. That's hairman.com/Howie. DiStefano Hair Restoration has 5 locations in New England and is open for business. For more information on location openings, go to hairman.com/Howie. Get the hair you have always wanted today.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were 2. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother." I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great. But I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
This is Karen from Billerica, Massachusetts.
This is Adrian in Swanton, Vermont.
This is Miss Susan up in Warner, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Last night, Nancy, Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, called you more of a Leo piece. I just wanted to know what you had to say in response.
Oh, I don't respond to her. I think she's a waste of time.
A waste of time. 844-500-4242. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want to hear your music, not your roommates or your family's music or podcasts or whatever, or binging. And Raycon wireless earbuds are the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who is more non-compos mentis, Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi?
I think it's still got to be Joe Biden, hands down.
Yeah, 68% say Joe.
I guess hands down is a bad way to describe Joe Biden, isn't it, considering he has a problem with his hands. All right, 844-500-4242. Let's have a Biden cut again, cut 15.
You deserve better than a president who attacks the Speaker of the House for visiting a local Chinatown business in San Francisco. You deserve better than the president who aggressively and childishly insults Asian American reporter in the room. Think of that. President of the United States, for the whole world to see, insults an Asian American reporter in the Rose Garden for doing her job, asking a direct question.
She was just looking, she wasn't really asking a direct question. She was just haranguing him. How come he didn't come up with her name? I mean, Joe.
Oh, come on.
Joe Biden.
That's not fair.
What do you mean it's not fair? He's going to mention her. He should know her name, shouldn't he? I mean, he's in the age group. There's not many people left who watch CBS Evening News. And actually, he's probably one of the youngest people who's still watching CBS Evening News. But he should know the name. Come on, Joe.
Did you hear him say chivishly instead of childless?
Oh,
childishly?
Did he say
Yeah.
chivishly?
Oh,
I'm
let me see if I can get it.
Go ahead. Yeah, get it.
You deserve better. Deserve better than the president who aggressively and childishly insults.
Childishly.
Chivishly.
Was it chivishly or childishly?
Aggressively and childishly insults Asian American.
He said chivishly.
Like Chivas Regal. Let's play cut number 16 again.
We provided compensation for long overdue compensation to Filipino veterans of World War II.
I never thought of the Philippines as like a place where there was a lot of wool. Did you? I mean, I was not aware that they had a lot of sheep. I consider, I think about Scotland and, the hills and the mist, and that's where you'd have sheep. I wouldn't think the Philippines, but now Joe Biden's telling me about the wool war. Joanne, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Joanne.
Hi, Howie. How are you?
Good.
I'm not. I'm a registered nurse for 28 years. I have a very interesting career, but currently on medical leave from a long-term care rehab facility where we have had a number of unfortunate deaths.
I'm sorry. Well, tell her to hold on there, Joanne. We'll see you. We got a guest coming up, but we'll talk to you after the guest. Okay. Thanks. I'm sorry to cut you short like that. I'm Howie Carr.
Tired of the Beacon Hill roller coaster? During these uncertain times, the last thing you need is another Beacon Hill money grab. That's why we need Jay McMahon fighting for us in the state Senate. As the only lifelong resident of the district, local business owner Jay McMahon is committed to fighting for our needs. Jay will bring common sense back to the state house, keeping our wallets, our economy, and our streets safe. You can count on Jay McMahon. On Tuesday, May 19th, vote in the special election. Vote Jay McMahon for state Senate.
Paid for by McMahon for state Senate.
Cape Gunworks has been approved to reopen their virtual online classes. If you're looking to get your certification in firearm safety training, these classes are the perfect resource. They're also great for experienced gun owners who need to get recertified in safety. These virtual classes will fill up quickly, so sign up today. To learn more about the online classes, go to capegunworks.com. That's capegunworks.com. And keep Cape Gunworks in mind for all of your future gun and ammo needs. Cape Gunworks in Hyannis.
He might not be flashy, but he's there when it counts. Here's 1 minute of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
For the first time in my memory, I agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am indeed the Grim Reaper when it comes to the socialist agenda that they've been ginning up over in the House.
You watch the fight, you watch the tactics, but here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court.
Noted with great interest the Green New Deal, and we're going to be voting on that in the Senate. We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green New Deal.
Well, first on the impartiality issue, do you think Chuck Schumer is impartial? Do you think Elizabeth Warren is impartial?
No.
Bernie Sanders is impartial? So let's quit the charade. This is a political exercise. Nobody is supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in the United States of America. Look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the speaker sends the papers over. So everybody enjoy the holidays.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
The guest prefers to be called J.E.
Okay, that's fine. That's what I was going to call her.
All right, just making sure.
Okay. It's the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. We're learning more all the time about the, I don't know what you'd call it, dirty tricks or illegal counterintelligence operations against the Trump campaign and the Trump transition team and people who weren't even in the Trump orbit early on. We spoke last hour to Neil McCabe from the Star newspapers, and he was talking about he's found a whistleblower from the Treasury Department who actually went to the Inspector General and told him that as early as 2015, people were randomly searching Michael Flynn's financial records. This was in Treasury. And we see the Treasury, all the Treasury people are named as unmaskers. There's more to this story, obviously, and there's going to be a lot more to it. And a sort of a related story was written by J.E. Dyer and last week. And she is a retired Navy intelligence officer. And she calls it backdoor unmaskings. And I think that's what's going on. That's where a lot of this is. And we're going to find out more about it in the coming weeks. And J.E. Dyer joins us now on the newsline. Thanks for being with us, J.E.
Hi, Howie. It's great to be with you.
Listen, tell us about this story you wrote about what's going on here with these, as you call them, backdoor unmaskings. Explain that to people.
Well, one thing about it is that it's kind of the real story. The formal front door unmaskings, there were a lot of them, and that was very unusual. But we're going to find out that what I call the backdoor unmaskings are going to be way, way bigger. There were thousands of them, and that they were growing by leaps and bounds between 2013 and 2016. This is what Admiral Mike Rogers reported back in 2016 when Jim Clapper wanted to fire him for making that report. And unfortunately, they've only grown since then. And there was a report last year from the FISA court on that.
Yeah.
So it's a huge problem. And the deal with these is that what analysts do is they run these cleverly termed queries. They pick the right search terms.
Yeah.
What those terms will do is bring up information that allows them to very reliably identify the U.S. persons that are involved in communications that that the NSA is allowed to scoop in a lot of data on.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not supposed to do that. The section that they're violating, Section 702 of the FISA, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and people have probably heard about that. And they're violating the terms of that section by doing it.
Well, one theory is that I've heard, J.E., is that when Admiral Rogers decided to crack down on this process because it was totally out of control, and all these basically Clinton operatives, Democrat operatives, were tapping in to federal databases, metadata, whatever you want to call it, that they had no right to. That when they were cut off, that's when they decided to concoct this phony dossier so they could pass it on to the FBI and claim that that's why they needed to have access to this information, because it was a Russian plot, and that everything that's where the dossier came from. Do you subscribe to that theory?
I think there's a lot to that, yes. I don't think it's entirely everything, but I do think that there's a lot to that. Something that you mentioned earlier, that you had talked to Neil McCabe, the timeliness of that is perfect. I actually have a new post coming out today that folds in what he has reported about what the people from Treasury were doing.
Right.
In order to cover their traces, what they were doing was going over to unclassified computers and pulling up information that would have left an audit trail if they had pulled it up in the government systems.
Right.
So they pulled up only what they had to in the government systems, and then they went over and pulled up other stuff in the unclassified web that you and I have access to all the time. And by putting that together, they were able to put together these amazing profiles of all these Trump associates, including his family. And, again, they're not supposed to just do that on their own dime. If they ever do that, it's supposed to be because they have tasking from an appropriate authority.
Well,
and as Neil says, they weren't.
Well, J.E., doesn't it seem like, they may not have had official clearance to do that, but it certainly seems from your story and from Neil's story that this was really their job. This was what they were there for, was to just try to mine information against Republicans.
That certainly, it looks like it was a full-time job for
how many
quite
people?
A few of them.
I know Adam Housley said this is massive. How many people do you think were involved in this?
It's hard to say, but I would say dozens at the FBI, probably as many as a couple of dozen at the National Security Council. And that could have been that many at the CIA. So it's kind of hard to say, but a lot. There shouldn't have even been one.
Right, exactly. And I asked this to Neil, I asked this to everybody we have on the show. Chuck Grassley, the senator from Iowa, said last week, somebody said, were they surveilling other Republican candidates? There were 17 of them, as you know. And he said, probably. What do you think? How many Republican candidates were also having their all their personal information, quote unquote, strip mined by the Obama administration?
I would say it was any of them who were viable.
Right. Cruz, for instance. Yeah, Cruz, for starters. Right. Yeah.
Ted Cruz, exactly. Probably John Kasich, Jeb Bush, I would think. Anyone who was still in it by February of 2016.
Wow.
When the primaries really started up.
How was this? We're speaking to Jade Dyer. She's a former naval intelligence officer, and she writes a lot on this issue of Obamagate and counterintelligence. How rapidly is this stuff going to come out?
It looks to me like it's going to be coming out very rapidly. The reason I say that is that these people are now alerted that John Durham is wise to them because Rick Grinnell is, And so they know. And that means that Durham needs to be starting to move pretty quickly. Let me tell you about one thing that happened yesterday that Jack Posobiec, whom you may be,
Right.
you probably know who he is.
Yeah.
I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He put out a tweet on this, and I've seen a couple of people chime in to say that's correct, and they appear to be people who know. The DNI, Rick Grinnell, apparently yesterday shut down the FBI's access to the Section 702 queries. They used to be able to run those. They were able to run those for years. And their ability would have gone back about 10 years, maybe 8 to 10 years. And those appear to have been shut down for them. That is huge. That's a move that means they are on the move. And we should expect to see other activity anytime.
All the more reason for Christopher Wray, the FBI director, not to respond to the letters asking for information by Jim Jordan and others. I want to ask you about something else in your story here. There was a strong argument that there were two agencies involved in one particular case, the FBI and the National Counterterrorism Center, NCTC. And you were talking about the exposed contractors. There was a dust-up, a bureaucratic dust-up, were likely to be individuals from the same company who worked government contracts that company held with both agencies. And here's what I'm interested in. You write, the company is the one John Brennan was president of from 2005 to 2009, the Analysis Corporation. And you say that they still have contracts with the government obtained in 2008, 2009, running into hundreds of millions of dollars. Are you kidding me, J.E.? John Brennan has made hundreds of millions of dollars. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he's no longer the president of that corporation, of course. And I believe it was when he was confirmed at the CIA, a filing that he made for his confirmation showed that he, I can't remember what he had. He still had it may have been an investment account. He had some kind of benefit that was still managed by the Analysis Corporation. So his monetary interest in it, I don't know what it is today. In 2013, when he was being confirmed by the Senate for the CIA, it was minimal. Mm-hmm. But when I delved into this and did the research for the original post on this a year or so ago, what I discovered was that not only had he been the chief of the original National Counterterrorism Center, mm-hmm. he went from there to TAC, the Analysis Corporation, right, and got the contracts with NCTC and the FBI, and the people that he worked with at the original, the predecessor to the NCTC, when he was at CIA, some of them have gone on to people, the Analysis Corporation. So, in other words, he has a lot of cronies involved in this setup. And, that's a moral hazard big enough to drive a Mack truck through.
Right. How about the revolving door? Members of Congress, they're not supposed to, get involved in any kind of, private lobbying or anything like that for a certain amount of time. Look at the Richard Burr and is all mixed up with insider trading, Dianne Feinstein. But this guy Brennan, he apparently became a very wealthy person just by going back and forth.
Well, he did, and here was the kicker with those contracts that he got with the FBI and the NCTC. In 2012, John Brennan, as Obama's counterterrorism czar, shepherded through a change in the data sharing agreement between the NCTC and the FBI. And it was the same data that the analysis corporation's contract personnel manage at both entities, and the data involves U.S. person identifying information.
And what is that exactly? Explain it briefly. We're running out of time here.
Okay, yeah. USPI is in the communications and the electronic profile that you're putting out there. It's what identifies that as belonging to you, the individual.
Yeah.
They can get down to you with the social security number and
that's
your
how
DNA
that's
file
how they,
anywhere.
Hey, J.E. Dyer, we really appreciate you being with us, and we'll tweet out your story, your most recent story, and we'll stay in touch with you and hope to give us keep going with this stuff. We got to get to the bottom of this. You and Neil McCabe, everybody, we need to find out more about this this greatest political scandal in American history, as the President Trump calls it. Thanks for being with us. Everybody needs a pair of great wireless earbuds, and you already know that Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and that they sound just as amazing as other top audio brands. You're stuck in the house a lot more than you used to be with your significant other, your roommate, whoever, people you live with. And you may not like their music. You may be living with them. You may like them. You may love them, but you don't like their music. You don't like
I thought everyone liked Hairspray and Taylor Swift and Queen. But apparently in this office, I'm the only one who likes those things. So I put my Raycons in, and then I don't hear complaints from my coworkers.
And that's the way it should be. You don't want to hear complaints from your coworkers or your live-in partners or your roommates, whatever you want to call them. You want your music, your entertainment, and the person you're with should have their own entertainment too. That's where Raycon comes in. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet. Grace can tell you that. She got a nice pair. It's her birthday present. And with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable, perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts, or listening to Taylor Swift if you're Grace. Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet with no dangling wires or stems. Don't you think when you see those dangling stems or wires on somebody on TV when they're doing a Skype shot or a Zoom, you think, man, that guy's a little behind the times. You don't want that. You want Raycons. Now is the time to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. buyraycon.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone, Howie Carr.
Here's Donald Trump Jr. proving once and for all the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
They hate Trump more than they love America. For them to try to take a pandemic and seemingly hope that it comes here and kills millions of people so that they could end Donald Trump's streak of winning. I don't know if this is coronavirus or Trump derangement syndrome, but these people are infected badly. To make this guy into a religious scholar, that's like saying Jeffrey Dahmer is a purveyor of organic and fine exotic meats. Adam Schiff is basically the Jussie Smollett of Congress on steroids. Children are off limits. Remember this one? If 13-year-old Barron Trump is not off limits, Hunter Biden sure as is not off limits. Because my name is Trump, if I took $1.5 from China, not $1.5 billion like Hunter, their heads would explode.
Who's your favorite Democrat? Go ahead.
Mitt Romney, Gail. Mitt Romney's my favorite Democrat. How about that? Please, Lord, in my next life, make me a leftist so I can say anything and get away with it.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE. 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's what I'm saying. I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
Hi, this is John in the People's Republic of Amherst, Massachusetts.
This is Heather from Litchfield, Maine.
This is Camp, Wichita, Kansas, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Backdoor unmasking. I think we're going to be hearing a lot more of that phrase as the time goes on. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg that we've talked about in these last 2 interviews. Back to Joanne, the nurse, and I'm sorry I didn't give her more time, but Joanne, you have the floor. Thanks for staying with us.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
It's a very strange world we're living in. I don't know if I'm in bizarro world or the outer limits or what, because I'm usually at work at this time of night. I'm a 3 to 11 nurse.
Yeah. So what happened?
Every member of my family. What happened is I contracted COVID from a patient.
And so you're sidelined now for what, 2 weeks?
A month.
A month?
Over a month. Since April 15th.
So how old are you, Joanne?
55.
So, I mean, you know, you're really not in that much danger, are you?
Oh, no. No, I'm very healthy.
Yeah. So are you, would you like to be going in or what's your complaint?
Absolutely. I even spoke to my, my facility today and, I said, as soon as I can come back, I will be back. I have to have 2 negative tests.
And so
I'm a nurse.
Have you had 1 negative test?
Nope, but I'm hoping for 1 tomorrow.
So then how long will it take you to get another negative test?
I have to wait 3 to 7 days to be tested again.
Now, are you getting paid while you're out?
Yes, I am. The company is doing right by their employees, and most employees have been able to return.
So do you think you would present any kind of threat to the people at the home?
No, not at all.
What do you think? What do you make of this?
I worked up until I'm very confused. I don't know what to make of it. And I've been a nurse for 28 years, and every member of mine and my husband's family, we're all essential workers.
Right.
Even our children.
Yeah, I know, but
we're very, very confused.
I'm confused because I thought everybody that had a job is essential. You know, that's my feeling, that everybody who works is essential. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any such a thing as a non-essential employee. And I don't understand why all the people, the state workers who, when there's a dusting of snow on the ground, they're called non-emergency and they don't come to work. But now they're essential and they get paid for 2 or 3 months. Thanks for the call, Joanne. I'm Howie Carr. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. With Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way.
Biden might be the front runner for the Democrats, but that isn't stopping him from serving up a whole lot of gaffes. Take a listen.
I believe that the president is literally an existential threat to America for three reasons. One, he is a genuine threat to our... I had permission to hug Lonnie. He says, let's make America great again. Let's make America America again. I think I'm either low IQ or slow, or I don't know what I am. Slow Joe Biden. Thanks for the Mary, and I'm going to be here a lot. I want the press to know she pulled me close. I just want you to know, okay? President Trump inherited an economy from Obama Biden. By the way, he gave me permission to touch it. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the east. In the west.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300.
With the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Can you remember any time in your life when you were starstruck?
One time I saw Peter Vesey, the NBA columnist for the New York Post. He was in the Herald sports department. I really liked his column, so I went up and introduced myself to him. Then one time there was Cousin Brucey from WABC, and I used to listen to him driving back and forth between Chapel Hill and Deerfield when I was in college. Everybody on the East Coast listened to him. I couldn't believe that I was in the presence of Cousin Brucey.
Do you ever play bridge anymore?
No, I haven't played bridge in a very long time. Nobody I know plays bridge. I think my bridge days are behind me.
Do you think you'd still be good at it?
I'm not a great bidder, but I know how to count cards. That to me is the essence of playing a hand of bridge, is to be able to count cards.
What is a rhino?
Rhino is a Republican in name only. Think Paul Ryan. Oh, think Mitt Romney. Think Jeff Flake.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. So what are we? Okay, are we allowed to grow too? Okay. So are we allowed to grow? I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show. And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who do you consider the biggest rhino in the Republican Party?
Probably is Paul Ryan. I wish a Republican were still the speaker, but Paul Ryan was scarcely a Republican. And there was a reason he was Mitt Romney's running mate, because we had a rhino ticket in 2012.
Where did the expression, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" come from?
That comes from the State House. There used to be a state rep who sometimes would talk about atrocities that were happening in crime. And he would get up there and he would say, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" And I just picked it up and...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The frontline workers, many are taking it. I happen to be taking it. Did he just say what I thought he said? I'm taking it. Hydroxychloroquine. Right now, yeah.
Stunning news from President Trump.
It was the president who late today surprised reporters when he said he has been taking hydroxychloroquine,
A controversial medicine that Mr. Trump has touted as a potential treatment for coronavirus.
The president appears to be brushing aside those concerns, saying it was his idea to take the drug along with zinc as a way to prevent catching the virus.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Frontline workers take it. A lot of doctors take it. I take it. I'm not going to get hurt by it. It's been around for 40 years for malaria, for lupus, or other things. I take it.
He's not taking something that his own administration has said will kill you.
If you are in a risky population here and you are taking this, it will kill you. I cannot stress enough. This will kill you.
Everything he said was absolutely accurate. It has been around for 40 years. It's been prescribed hundreds of millions of times. I've never seen one adverse side effect.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Madam Speaker, what's your reaction to the president saying that he is now taking hydroxychloroquine?
I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group, in his weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say.
Oh, a lovely lady. Hey, baby, you're all right. You must have been something before electricity, huh? Unchained and unstoppable.
You're going to hear there's a pond on the other side of my property here, a lot of Canadian geese. Trump was out there tweeting again this morning. I call him President Tweety.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. Charlie Baker has been MIA today. I think he's taken a lot of heat from a lot of quarters about his plan to keep the state shut down indefinitely. Connecticut malls are opening tomorrow. A guy just texted me from 413 area code, yet still shuttered here. Sad, very sad. And yesterday afternoon, we were talking to Eric Hines from Precinct 10, among other places in Weymouth. And he's the head of a large group of restaurant owners. And he said basically he was disappointed in Steve DiFilippo, who was the only restaurateur on the Blue Ribbon Commission of Karen Politos that basically recommended keeping the state shut down indefinitely. And so we wanted to talk to Steve DiFilippo. He's a good guy. I was on a chowder judging contest with him for WXTK back a few years ago. And I like Davio's, but we did want to just talk to him and get his perspective on what's happening. Steve, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Sure, Howie. I don't think I had chowder for a year after that Chowder Fest. That was unbelievable. Oh my God!
As I told you earlier in the day, I just voted against everything that had flour in it. I'm a chowder purist. No flour.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what was going on? I mean, do you feel like you let your fellow restaurateurs down? And the people in the industry, 300,000 people in the industry who are still shut down while most of the rest of the country is open pretty much in one form or another?
I don't think so. I mean, I've been working really hard and, it's really about safety. This reopening board was put together for safety. They want to make sure that our employees and our guests who come through that front door are safe, and that's really what it's all about. Eric, I never met him. He's never met me. I don't really know, what he's talking about, but I was there. I know what happened, and look, I'm one of 17 people on this thing. Okay, I'm not on there just for restaurants. I'm there as a citizen of Massachusetts to, talk about a lot of industries, and restaurants are one of them. Look, no one got hurt more than me, Howie. I had to furlough 1,058 people in one day, the worst day of my life. And, it's devastating. I started on Newbury Street in 1985. I was 24 years old. I worked in Faneuil Hall when I was 18. I've been doing this a long time. And, I've been through recessions. I've been through wars, terrorist attacks, bombings, snowstorms, 150 inches of snow in Boston. We've been through it all, right, in the last 35 years. And, obviously this is the worst ever, but, we're Americans. We're not going to give up. What are we going to quit?
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna
a lot
quit.
of
I'm gonna come
restaurants
back.
every day are giving up because they can't get back to work. And Karen Polito, we played The Cut yesterday. I mean, she's just talking about having more meetings to plan more phase-ins, to have a plan to phase in. And I said this to you earlier in the day. I don't see the Cape being opened anytime soon.
They're going to be open a few more weeks. Okay. I mean, I'm actually on that other thing that she's talking about. Okay. We want to make sure, she asked me to do that too. So, it's my government job has just continued, but it's important, Howie, to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Okay. What good is it if someone goes in to one of our places and it's not the same? We want to make sure everyone, understands, look,
But she doesn't want it to, she doesn't want it to open up, period. Does she? I mean, we have to go. These phases are 3 weeks. So then there's nothing going to be. We're going to discuss opening in 3. We're going to discuss opening in 3 weeks now. Is that's the plan, right?
No, what he said was there has to be minimum of 3 weeks between phases. So that would be June 8th. Okay, so I'm hoping we're opening on June 8th. I mean, at the latest June 15th.
Want to bet?
There's still a lot of people in ICU.
Steve, want to bet?
My wife's aunt died yesterday, Howie. Okay, I mean, I've lost a brother-in-law. I've lost a father-in-law. I've lost,
in between.
My sister-in-law who just got out of the hospital. I mean,
got the cuts if you want.
We're going to break 6,000 deaths tomorrow in Massachusetts. I mean, it's awful situation.
But most of them are in the nursing homes,
Steve.
Steve. Most of them are in the nursing homes that give money to.
Should I tell that to my brother-in-law who was 58 years old, who was not in a nursing home?
But I mean, that's a small number, though. Let's play the cut. Let's play the cut, so you can listen to the cut.
I'll tell you that. I miss him. It's awful.
Go ahead.
So again,
we'll progress through 4 phases, opening more sectors of the economy and activities only when the public health data indicate it's appropriate to do so. Each phase will last at least 3 weeks, but may last longer if the public health data doesn't support moving forward.
At least 3 weeks.
That's June 8th. That sounds like June 8th to me. I mean, if the numbers, look, we had a good day today, numbers keep going down, I think we're going to be okay. I mean, look, it's been horrible. Don't get me wrong. But you know what? If we come back too early and the numbers spike up again,
we've got the
what are we going to do then? I'd rather wait a couple of weeks, make sure we're safe, and we'll open up with a bang, okay? We're going to open up with not just outside like some of these. Look, imagine we just opened outside yesterday. It was 40 degrees here in Boston.
Listen to this is Polito. Now, listen to what Polito said about this new commission that you're on, and tell me that you think your fellow restaurant owners and just the members of the general public should be confident that there's going to be anything open this summer. Listen.
We have established a new restaurant, accommodations, and tourism work group consisting of industry representatives and municipal leaders that we will continue to have discussions with to help us determine the industry-specific protocols for meeting our safety standards. This group will help us shape the guidance that will allow these industries to reopen, and when the data allows for it, they will do so safely and in mind
always when the data
the
allows.
need to continue to fight the virus.
Oddly, the data allows restaurants in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire. I'm going to a restaurant tonight in Palm Beach. Texas is wide open.
No, you're in Florida, but the places that are open in New Hampshire are outside. They're not inside. Wouldn't you rather open June 8th with tables inside that are, because look, they have to be 6 feet apart. That's the whole world. We can't fight that. And tables 10 or less, and have that inside and outside. Wouldn't that be better than just having outside?
I didn't get the feeling.
I've been doing this a long time, and you don't live off of outside. Okay, outside is great.
I understand you don't live off curbside either, and you don't live off delivery. I get it, but I'm just saying you need to start somewhere, and other states are starting. And Massachusetts is there. This governor is panic stricken.
No, he's not, Howie. You're not. Look, listen to me, okay? Is it better to open with just a little bit of your restaurant, so then you fill a walk-in, you take people off unemployment that are making $600 extra a week, okay, and then it rains for 4 days? What good is that? Okay, what am I? how am I going to pay them if there's no business because I'm only outside and it's raining, or if it's cold out?
Do you
I mean,
do you
can't
think
live
you represent
outside right now? It's May in Boston.
Do you think
you're in Palm Beach? If I was in Palm Beach, I would probably agree with you. We're not. We're in Boston.
Do you think you represent the majority of owners? I'm gonna have another guy on at 6:30 who's he has 8 restaurants and pubs. He's going crazy.
I'm sure he is, and I feel horrible for him. But we have to make sure we're safe, and we're going to be safe. We are the best industry to come out of this thing because we're all surf safe. We understand how to keep our guests safe and our inner guests or our employees safe. We know how to do it, okay? And we can't wait to get going, all right? But we got to do it at the right time, And Howie, this is Massachusetts. This isn't Texas or Florida. I mean, is this a surprise? I mean, I don't understand.
What you mean it's a surprise that it's so horribly mismanaged, right down to all the deaths in the nursing homes? Is that what you mean? No, I'm not surprised by the mismanagement.
No, you said that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it's different. We're different up in Boston. We have these universities. We have all these doctors. We're the people who are on this commission thing that are on the board that I was on. It's all about health and safety.
They don't have to. They all have hearing. Steve, they're not like those
look,
1,000.
If you want to have your agenda, I get it. I get your agenda, but this is not what this was for. This is to make sure people are safe. And if the numbers go back up in a few weeks, we don't want that to happen. Okay. Look, is New York City open? Is New Jersey open? We had the 3rd highest deaths in the country.
Well, they had the same problem with
problems
with nursing homes. I mean, Charlie Baker, he didn't regulate the nursing homes. The only thing he did with the nursing homes was to get a bill passed so that to cap their liability in civil cases. He takes $52,000 from them. Polito takes $32,000 from them, and they keep the state shut down. Steve, I mean, people are very very edgy. They're very concerned about this.
Yes, I understand that. I am as well. I've had death in the family. I lost my business. I am just like everybody else. But I also look at the big picture. This is not going to end in the next month or two. We're in this for the next year and a half. Okay, and if we come out not strong, we come out weak, it's going to be very difficult. Okay, because restaurants, we are every day. If you don't do the business, you're losing money. You have to buy the food. You have to pay for your labor. You have to pay your rent. It's very, very expensive business. So we got to come out when it's right. Okay. And look, we're going to be open in a couple of weeks. Relax, everybody. Hang in there. I promise you, we will be back. Okay. Stronger than ever.
Roll on that,
it might
Taylor.
Take a little time.
Roll on that, Taylor. We want to have that on tape.
Okay. Well, I'm doing the best I can, Howard.
I know. We have zero confidence.
Another thing I want to say, the Mass Restaurant Association, okay, is absolutely unbelievable. We have incredible leaders, and a lot of these other rogue restaurant groups, they never wanted to be part of the group. They go off on their own thing. It's like you don't hire your air conditioning guy to fix your air conditioning in July. I hope you have a relationship with him before July because he's not coming, right? So a lot of these people waited till there's a major problem, and now they get involved. I've been involved with this kind of stuff for a long time. Since I started business, I always was involved. I'm always helping out. I'm always, in there for the business. I'm up at the State House. I'm doing whatever I can to help our industry.
Okay.
And,
Steve, I gotta hold you right there, but I really appreciate you coming on and taking a little heat about this.
Oh, it's okay. I get it. I'm nervous just like everybody else. And I just want everyone to know out there, I'm doing the best I can. I got a great team around me. The Mass Restaurant Association is helping me. I have a lot of friends. I am inundated with calls from every industry. Every restaurant has called me. Other industries have called me.
All right. I got to stop you right there. Steve DiFilippo from Davio's, and he's on the Blue Ribbon Commission. 844-500-4242. We all shop online a lot, especially in this panic. But do you know how you can make your online shopping even better and save a lot of money at the same time? You can do it with Honey, and Honey is free. It's the free, I repeat, free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your card. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the little apply coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Grace can tell you about it more than I. She runs into more shopping. She does more shopping that Honey covers than I do. But
yes, I bought some sunglasses today.
how much did you save thanks to Honey?
Well, I got free shipping, and I think I got 10% off.
So do I want to know how much you saved with 10%, or is that going to lead to bad messages on the chump line tomorrow?
I don't want to reveal how much I'm paying for sunglasses because I think everyone will be upset by that.
All right, but let's just say Grace saved a lot of money thanks to Honey on her new sunglasses. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. Honey has found over $2 billion in savings. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. It's 100% free to use and installs in just a few seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Get Honey for free, and again, I repeat, for free, at joinhoney.com/Howie. You will thank me later because you've saved some money. That's joinhoney.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by CapeGunworks.com. Cape Gunworks has been approved to reopen their virtual training classes, but space is limited. Go to CapeGunworks.com and sign up now. That's CapeGunworks.com.
I'm the Vice President of the United States.
Love him or hate him, Joe Biden's here for the long haul. But we can't get enough of his gaffes. Here's the best of Uncle Joe speaking before he thinks.
We choose truth over facts.
When the stock market crashed, Franklin Roosevelt got on television.
Make sure you have the record player on at night. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Okay, look, all right. Look, well, you can frack with me later, okay? The teachers are kind. I'm married to a teacher. My deceased wife is a teacher. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. I can tell you, and I've known 8 presidents. 3 of the minimum. If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me. Had over 40 kids shot at Kent State on a beautiful lawn. I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? I said something that was not meant the way I said. I mean, what is it that I said wrong? I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a...
Howie, try to take a few calls because this guy
really
got people fired up.
I will. I'll just do the poll question later, okay? In the last segment.
Sure.
Is that okay?
That shelling?
No, Katie. Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes. We're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? Is that not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about no, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Ignore me.
I mean,
Ignore me.
that's
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
Hi, this is Cindy from Osterville, Massachusetts.
This is Brett Rock from Dunstable, Massachusetts.
This is Amy in Lisbon Falls, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Bob Hedlund, the mayor of Weymouth and a restaurant owner himself, is on the line. Bob, go ahead. Go for it.
Howie, I spent 22 years in the Senate, as you know. About 10, 12 years ago, I got in the restaurant business. I've opened 2. They were small. And I have a little story for you. And I only caught the tail end of Mr. DiFilippo's comments. And I've never met the man, but I have a bone to pick with him as a small business person / restaurateur. And why any restaurateur should be weary of him and the Mass Restaurant Association, who are basically, the board is a bunch of elitist fat cats that, in my opinion, have sold out restaurants in the past. So they have a right to be nervous about them. Would you like to hear my story, Howard?
Go ahead.
The casino bill came up, and I know you followed that closely.
Yes.
And I saw the special treatment that the casinos were getting.
Right.
And I threw an amendment out just to make a statement, kind of a poison pill, but I didn't think it was going to be adopted. And I said, whatever we end up giving in this bill to the casinos, restaurants get the same thing.
Meaning later closing hours. Late, you sell drinks later, but we got a minute left, Bob. A minute left. Go for it.
Well, I should come on, but it got adopted, and then it was a big blowout, and I got the thing amended. We put a commission in place to review the pouring laws that hadn't been looked at in years, and do little tweaks that restaurateurs could use. For instance, the British Beer Company was advertising Wednesday night craft beer nights. You can get a pint of Sam Adams or Harpoon for $3.50, same as a Bud, on Wednesday night. But that's a violation of the law. So in this commission, we were trying to look at things like that. And guess who blew the whole thing up? Mass Restaurant Association. And Steve DiFilippo was quoted in the newspaper saying this was a return to happy hour, which will cause carnage and blood in the streets. So I Googled his business, and guess what? Out of Massachusetts, he was promoting happy hour, half-price well drinks on Wednesday, Thursday nights in Philadelphia and places like that. So it was total hypocrisy. And when I pointed that out, none of the Boston papers wanted to take him on.
You want to get back to work, don't you, Bob?
What's that?
You want your restaurants back in business, don't you?
I'm not in the restaurant business anymore, Howie.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll talk to you again soon, Bob. We got another restaurateur. I'm Howie Carr.
Over the past few weeks, we here at Matthews Brothers have come to realize
Taylor.
Is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. Bernie Sanders is officially in the race for 2020. Let's look back at some of the septuagenarian's greatest hits.
Should we give tax breaks to billionaires, which is what Trump wants, or demand that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes? Blah, 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 blah.
It's funny. Sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing. In other countries, people don't line up for food. The rich get the food and the poor starve to death.
We understand your wife has hired a lawyer to represent her in a possible probe into a land deal that fell apart. This was back when she was president of Burlington College.
No, it was not when she was... let me say a word on that.
Yeah, well, I just want to ask you, do you know she's under FBI investigation?
Excuse me. My wife is about the most honest person I know.
At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 underarm spray deodorants or 18 different pairs of sneakers.
People should not be dying in the United States of America when they are sick.
We will raise taxes.
Joe Biden doesn't have time for malarkey, and he also doesn't have a lot of time for geography. Take a listen.
The people of Nevada are watching, and I'm going to be out there seeing them very soon. Tonight, though, we just heard from the first two of 50 states. It's important that Iowa and Nevada have spoken, but look, we need to hear from Nevada and South Carolina and Super Tuesday states and beyond.
And Biden doesn't know the difference between Iran and Iraq. He's gotten it wrong 4 times.
We tried it in Iraq. It's not working, so now we're going to try, in Iran, we tried in Ukraine.
He always gets the name wrong.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town. This is sort of a scenic, beautiful town. I like Keene a lot.
How many times has he missed it? He's in Iowa. It's great to be in the great state of Ohio. And they say, Joe, you're in Iowa.
How many unsafe bridges you still have here in the state of Iowa? And I was just in Ohio because they have more.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. I got an email today from a restaurateur in Boston that I know. He has 8 restaurants. I got to know him on a story earlier. It was a fun story. I won't get into what it was, but we had a lot of laughs with it. Even though it involved wasting taxpayer money, but you have to laugh sometime. He called me or he emailed me today and said that it's really just horrible what's going on with the restaurants all over the place, not just in Boston, but he has 8 in Boston. So I wanted to have him on to discuss his view about what's going on. Doug Bacon, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Hey. Hi, Howie. Good to be with you.
Did you hear Steve DiFilippo? I don't know if you did or not, but
yes, I did. I heard everything.
What do you make of that? What's your response to that?
So Steve is doing the best. I don't know Steve well, but I've met him several times and I know him a little bit. He's doing the best he can under extremely difficult circumstances. And I believe that the deck is somewhat stacked against him because the reopening commission has a lot of people who are extremely risk averse, people who work in healthcare and elected officials. And I feel like someone needs to take a strong leadership position and balance the jobs and the small businesses and the restaurants that are the center of every main street and downtown district in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And we cannot let them go.
How bad is it?
It's bad, Howie. You've seen the news. Places are going out of business. Fine dining restaurants, gelato stores, ice cream places, hot dog stands. It's very bad. Restaurants operate on weekly cash flow. We're paying the bills for the rent. In a few days, we're paying the bills with the money that we make over the weekend. And it happened at the absolute worst time, a couple of days before St. Patrick's Day. And the long winter was ending, and we were all getting ready for the springtime, the marathon, the St. Patrick's Day
Red Sox
season.
Yeah.
And we all got shut down at the absolute worst time. The bills have been piling up all winter. It's very bad, Howie.
What would you tell? What would you tell the people on the restaurant reopening commission? Which, you heard what Karen Polito said. Do you have any confidence that they're going to be opening up anytime soon?
I'm extremely disappointed, Howie, because I feel like not enough attention is being paid to the small businesses and the jobs. There are so many jobs that are going to be lost from this. People are going to look around in their downtown business districts and say, what happened to that restaurant? What happened to that pizza place? What happened to that coffee shop? And everyone's going to look around in 6 months, and so many small businesses are going to be gone. That's what I would tell the people on the reopening commission. And I feel like the restaurant business knows about safety and sanitation and cleanliness and taking care of our guests. We've been doing it, and we are experts at it, and we get inspected by the health department. Nobody does health and safety and sanitation better than the restaurant business. So we are in a position to adapt, but we're not being given the opportunity to. Now, nobody wants to see people dying, and we want to find some balance.
Do you think your restaurants are cleaner than Walmart? Walmart's open. Your restaurants are closed. All the other small restaurants or medium-sized restaurants or non-chain restaurants, everything's shut down.
I am extremely frustrated, and I understand that they have to keep the food stores open, but if a liquor store and a CVS can be open, then I think we should find a way to keep a neighborhood restaurant open. And I'm okay with restrictions and limits and social distancing and spacing, but I wish we could find a way to get small businesses to be able to be open.
I don't want to rub it in, Doug, but it was so nice last Saturday night to go out to dinner at a nice restaurant here in Florida. And, everybody had a big smile on their face. They were happy. And I know the weather's better right now here than it is up there, but I think everybody in Massachusetts, everybody in New England would like to go out to dinner, wouldn't they?
Everybody would. And I've heard from a lot of my customers. Now, to be fair, 5 of my businesses are in Allston, Brighton, Howie. So my customers, the demographic skews on the younger side.
Right.
I've heard from dozens of my customers and my staff and my managers. People want to go out. They're okay with wearing a mask. They're okay with distancing, but they want to get out and they want to be in public and they want to be able to go down to the local neighborhood place and get a burger. I'm very much looking forward to opening. And I'm not faulting Steve. He had a very difficult time, Steve DiFilippo, because he was the only restaurateur.
Right. I know. What is your help? What are your employees saying? I mean, what's happened to them? What are they doing?
So I have some people who are doing okay because they're getting the extra $600 a week from the federal government. And I've actually heard from people that they're not in a rush to get back to work.
Right. I've heard that too. Yeah.
They're home. They don't even want to come back to work, and they're happy to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. But that's going to run out in July. There have been a lot of mistakes from the federal government. The $600, it was a good idea, maybe a little bit more generous than it needed to be. And the PPP plan is great for retail stores and people who own small businesses that are not related to restaurants, but it's for the restaurants, it really hasn't been helpful because we're not open.
Yeah.
We can't put our people on the payroll and have them come in and work for 8 weeks because we can't be open.
So are you doing any takeout at any of the places or curbside or anything like that?
I'm not, and we were not set up for it. I'm in the bar and pub and neighborhood restaurant business.
Right.
And so my restaurants mostly serve inexpensive food. And the idea is you come in with your wife or your girlfriend and you have a $6 burger and you might have two $7 beers to go with it. So when this all started, we couldn't sell beer and wine to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do very much takeout business. When we reopen, we're going to do a lot of business for takeout, and we're going to do delivery, and we're going to take advantage of the third-party delivery companies. So we're not open right now, but we are going to be reopening a few of my places in 3 or 4 weeks, and we're going to kind of test the water and see how it goes.
How long do you think most people can stick it out? Because I get the feeling from that Karen Polito statement yesterday that she's not planning to open anything anytime soon.
I'm very concerned about that because it feels like the goalposts have been moved. And in the beginning, everybody understood that there was a concern that the intensive care units were going to get overwhelmed and there were not enough ventilators and the hospitals didn't have enough capacity. And everybody understood that, and we had to get through the surge of the virus, but we got through that. And then the next thing was the infection rate is still too high. We're worried about the peak. We have to stay, at home for another 2, 3, 4 weeks. It just feels like the goalposts keep getting moved.
Yeah. And, letting the state manage everything. I mean, I've been around. So have you. You know how the state operates. Would you trust them with anything?
It's extremely difficult, and I'm looking forward to getting reopened and putting some of my people back to work. And it's not just the restaurant owners, it's the workers. I have a lot of people who are not able to collect unemployment for various reasons. They want to get back to work. I have landlords who want to get paid the rent. I have suppliers of paper goods and meat and produce that want to get paid and want to start doing business again. It's 350,000 people in Massachusetts directly employed in the restaurant business and probably another 300,000 ancillary businesses.
Why don't you guys sue? I mean, either hire lobbyists like the golf courses did, and they were open the next day, I mean, not to be a cynic about it, but that's the way it works. Or you sue them, and all this stuff is, I think, unconstitutional. The gun shops have won on the Second Amendment. The churches were going to win on the First Amendment. I mean, why don't you guys go and raise some money and go into court?
I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure that that's a viable option, Howie. One of the things is, if you go to a gun shop or a golf course, you're not going to spend a couple of hours in close proximity to other people, and share the same air that you breathe. So I do understand that there is a possibility for spreading communicable diseases and viruses in restaurants and pubs and bars and nightclubs and casinos. I get that. I don't think it compares perfectly with gun shops and golf courses, but obviously there's so many jobs at stake and small business owners that are suffering. We're all looking forward to being reopened again soon.
Okay, Doug, I really appreciate you being with us, and stay in touch and let us know what's going on. Okay. Thank you very much. That's Doug Bacon. He owns 8 restaurants, pubs in Boston, some of them in Allston, Brighton, and elsewhere. We'll be right back, and we'll take your calls when we come back. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
If you're that listener who has always wanted more hair but are afraid of a full hair restoration, then today is your lucky day. DiStefano Hair Restoration is now offering a non-surgical laser procedure for less than $3,000. This package comes with a year's supply of medication to support the growth of your hair. DiStefano Hair Restoration continues to discount full hair transplants too. To learn more on both packages, go to hairman.com/Howie. You may have more time on your hands now, so take advantage of it and get the hair you've been wanting for years. I know Dr. Highness did such a great job for me, and he will for you too. People always stop me and say it looks so natural. To take advantage of either of these offers, go to hairman.com/Howie. You'll never see these kinds of discounts again. That's hairman.com/Howie. DiStefano Hair Restoration has 5 locations in New England and is open for business. For more information on location openings, go to hairman.com/Howie. Get the hair you have always wanted today.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much better.
if I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be
ask,
much better.
if I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
This is Kevin from Brockton.
This is Karen from Boiling Springs, South Carolina.
This is Officer Mark calling from beautiful Stratford County, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want to hear your music, not your roommates or your family's music or podcasts or whatever. And Raycon wireless earbuds are the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Who's more non-compos mentis, Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden?
It's got to be Joe Biden still.
68% say Joe.
That's about what I figured it would be. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
Your guest earlier. I could tell something in his voice. I don't trust him, but here's the other reason. It boggles my mind that people that blindly just follow the government, these government officials, and whatever they say, well, we got to do because they're the experts. And I'll tell you a story about that in a second. But here's my other point. We need to remember just a couple years ago, and we've seen this in multiple cases, where the bigger companies welcome the government intrusion because the real bottom line is they know that they can survive it and it will put their competition out of business. So you get some restaurants like this guy maybe that, hey, we gotta stay down a few more weeks. We gotta keep closed, and more of his competition is going to go out of business.
Yeah, I know what you mean about experts, Bill. A story I never read when I see the headline, experts say, because experts are always saying, don't do anything. Keep shut down. Don't go back to work. And again, their jobs are not at stake. I got to get to this Peggy Noonan column from last weekend at some point. We'll do that tomorrow. Thanks for the call, Bill. George, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, George.
How you doing, Howie? My name is George Mendoza. I am in the North End. I own Monica's Vinoteca and Monica's Pasta
Yeah, I
Shop.
think we're going to have you on tomorrow too, but I'd love to have you talk about it tonight. Go ahead, George.
Actually, yeah, you were talking to my brother Frank, who owns another Monica's in the North End. Yeah, this is terrible. They are ruining people's livelihoods. It's a complete abuse of power. They have no idea what they are talking about. The mayor is completely inept. He can't put two phrases together. The same with Charlie Baker. He sounds like a prepubescent boy. These folks have no rights to take our constitutional rights away, nor do they have a right to impair us from taking care of our families. We came to the United States in '84. We are adopted sons of this great country. We love the United States. We employ a lot of people. We're very good to our customers. We're very good to our employees. And this is putting dozens of families at risk. And that's just those who are working at the restaurant industry. Other businesses depend on us, farmers, fishermen.
Right.
I talked to two dear friends of mine, a lobster man from Maine, from Morris Island, John Rogers. I talked to a good friend of mine, Mike, who owns Stony Island Sea Farms in Orleans, Cape Cod. These folks are counting on an economy that has all its links intact.
And how about your landlords, George? You know, the landlords are counting on you for their money, and the banks are counting on the landlords to pay off their mortgage. I mean, you're right. Everything is interconnected here. You can't shut down one part of the economy and say it's non-essential, and that some professor making $300,000 for sitting on his ass is essential. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely, and I challenge all our legislators here in Massachusetts and all our public officials. Why don't they relinquish their paychecks? They are getting paid. They're working. They are getting their money. I've heard people that work for the city. I'm in the North End. There are a lot of hacks here. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who mush up the system, who keep electing the same fools to serve themselves. Okay. And those people that say, "Hey, I'm not going to lose my job." Of course, they're not going to lose their job. The other thing too that nobody talks about, how we used to have 4 social classes: the poor, the lower middle class, the middle class, and the very rich. Now we have the monarchs, the political monarchy, that these folks, poorly educated, unprepared, who have not run businesses, who have not made payrolls, leading our nation. I beg people, I implore that they vote for the right people, both for businessmen, both for people with experience. Look at what our president is doing. He's an example of good leadership. You don't have to like him. You don't have to have the way he sometimes articulates himself, but he's to the point. The rest of us are to the point. The mayor hasn't been down in a neighborhood. Aaron Michaelwitz, who lives on Fulton Street, who is the House Ways and Means chair here at the state, he hasn't been around talking to us.
He's getting lots of money from the nursing homes too, George. They took care of the nursing homes, didn't they?
And that's another one, Howie, that they don't tell you. Okay. The majority of people who are dying of the virus are over 80 years of age and are living in nursing homes, many of which are regulated and many of which are run by the states.
Right.
The deaths that we have in our VA hospital here in Massachusetts, the deaths that took place in all the nursing homes in New York while the governor Cuomo was taking those sick folks that were being rushed to emergency from nursing homes and sending them back to the nursing homes to euthanize our elder, which is something that they want. They wanted to abort our children and they wanted to bury our parents as early as possible. It's a sham. It's a complete scam. And I tell you, if we don't do something about it, I met with a bunch of local businesses, my brothers and other people today. We were talking to somebody who wants to organize another group. We're not a country of groups and associations. We're a country of individuals. This country was built by single individuals with their own ideas. They put them forward. They offer them to their communities. Capitalism works. We need people to come out again. People are going to come out at their own pace. Keep in mind, we have no tourism. All the events are closed. Do these fools think that we are going to be able to function at 25%? It's impossible.
George, you're great. You're really good. We'll talk to you tomorrow again, or your brother. Sorry we didn't have time for more calls. We're out of time. I'm Howie Carr.